Alrighty, welcome everyone to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. I will be casting your match today with my co-caster here, Coinman. I'm Enrage on the mic, and once again, welcome back to a wonderful broadcast from CEA Siege. Today's match will be the Rochester Institute of Technology versus the New York Institute of Technology, RIT versus NYT respectively, and they will be starting off, I believe, on Coastline in just a second once the players filter into the lobby and ready up. Coinman, any predictions for the match today?
I believe so. If we're starting on Coastline, RIT picked that one as theirs. I would assume that, having not seen these two squads this year, because from what I can tell, we do have one new player on RIT from last year, and on NYT, 3, I believe, at least from what I remember seeing. You can correct me if you like. So I think that it'll all be down to how comfortable they are to playing as a team, as I believe this is the first week for everybody going on here. So
I believe so.
So I believe that's a lot of what will be going on, is how all these new teams work together. I think that RIT will likely get the first map, if not on virtue of more of the team being the same than NYT compared to last year. Also, it being their map. So I think that that's likely how map 1 will go. And then I think map 2 will be a lot more interesting because NYT will likely be significantly more warmed up. And it's also their map as well. I haven't been paying attention to how much they've been scrimming, so they may be all up and running anyway. So I'm very excited to see how this one goes.
Yeah, it's a very good point to make. I mean, Coastline, of course, being a pretty frag-heavy map, it's going to be mainly focused on the entry frags or the roamers for a great deal of the picks throughout the match. So that'll be a good thing to watch out for, but at the same time, there's going to be, I feel like, a lot of support plays from both teams as well. We've got some pretty strong support players on each team, so I think that we're going to look at a pretty even matchup here.
Yeah. So I have to ask, because we are in the new season, which means that we do get access to the newest operators in the squad. We are at least available in Siege. What is your over under on Malusi being hard banned as the first on the first defensive op on both sides for both maps?
I don't really see Malusi being banned, at least here. I think that there are other operators on Coastline that are a bit more crucial for the setups. I mean, I think operators like Echo, Maestro, those type of deal are generally going to be like default defense bans. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Ace, on the other hand of things, actually see either some play or some bans, just due to how effective Ace can become on Coastline, due to the amount of external walls that were really a pain to breach previously, specifically quad wall or for billiards, or the very long wall down in Blue Bar. Being able to breach those from range or even up on the roof of the map with Ace could be changing that up quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's why I do expect to see a lot of Ace. I doubt Ace will be banned, but Malusi is the one I expect to see the most bannings of over the course of the next few weeks, and I'll be interested to see that statistic if that is even true. So now we're heading to the operator bans, and we're going to see if what I said applies, which may not. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's always going to be probably a Thatcher ban, just due to how the game has been for the past few months. It's just something you see basically every match. But maybe we'll see a switch up. It seems like NYT is taking their time to decide on the first ban, making sure that they're putting as much thought as they can into it to try to get that in the into as much impact as possible. It does end up being the Thatcher ban, so not really unexpected, but still a good ban nonetheless, even with the nerfs from Operation Shadow Legacy just disabling gadgets rather than breaking them. Still a very strong operator.
Yeah, and I think on a map where you're less likely to be doing hard breaching, like as far as I'm aware, Coastline is definitely the least hard breach reliant map. Like you can take every site on here with entirely soft breach. That's very doable. So I think that you would likely have better options to ban than Thatcher, at least in most cases. Now Jackal's really interesting. I would assume that would have to be a target ban for Rome because this is the attacker ban side right now. Though like when they expect to be defending, so I would have to assume that RIT expects for them to be extremely roam heavy on their half.
Right, and I mean, yeah, Jackal is a really solid ban, especially on these more roam heavy maps, the more frag heavy maps. Well, my ban as well is a pretty good choice. I mean, being able to deny the more interesting style of throwable denial compared to what Jaeger brings to the board is going to be a nice little thing there. Denying that shield as well will reduce the amount of angles the defense can play without having to switch to a different operator. Valkyrie ban from NYT, huge intel denial, especially. And I mean, the amount of outside Valkyrie cams that you can see on Coastline due to how many just objects are outside the map that are very interestingly shaped or have different lighting effects on them mean that it's pretty difficult to find them without an IQ.
Yeah, I also think that it was rather interesting with the Wamai pick. Then I would have to expect, as we see here, that they bring a Capitao because that's the only reason you would ever ban Wamai is if you are a Capitao heavy attack strat. Normally you wouldn't do that. Like, sure, Wamai has a better gun, but I would figure that other things would traditionally have precedence over Wamai on the defense because, as we've seen, there is no Maestro or Echo ban here at all. Which I think is, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point that you make about Echo not being banned, and they're still going to choose to bring the Maestro. I mean, for Blue and Sunrise, generally you do see an Echo be brought if it's available, just due to how influential the yokai drones are throughout the round, being able to be mobile intel as well as plant denial. Maestro really just brings a bulletproof camera, essentially, two of them. For the most part, you generally don't see players zap on them unless it's against a planter.
Also, this is a wild
Attackers have located a bomb.
Bomb site here. This is highly irregular going downstairs to Sunshine and Blue Bar. That is very weird because that's usually traditionally the tertiary site behind both kitchen and hookup. And that explains why they were bringing the castle. I bet there was a hazard that the castle was going to be 6-pick, because it looks like they're going to be doing a north side hold on the first floor of CORSAIR.
10 seconds.
Yeah, very good point. I mean, the castle is definitely going to help to cut down some of the potential
5 seconds to
rotates that the attacking team could use. Having Fiasco there to shut those
Attackers
down and
objective
just
is to
close
defuse
off
the
some
bomb.
areas of the map that the defense doesn't really want to deal with will alleviate a lot of the pressure for the anchors on site, being Not Salmon and Mac.
Yep, it looks like we have fairly good drone economy right now. I will note that all of their first drones seem to have been shot out, so they only have 5 drones left, which is not exactly where you want to be, especially if you're attacking in a highly irregular site. It looks like we do only have, so we have 1 on Blue Bar stairs and 2 upstairs, and only 1 person actually on site right now. So I think they're hazarding that it will be a slower take than normal, with everyone figuring out where the Jaeger is upstairs.
Yeah, and we do see Bladeroid get droned out there by the combination of Daddy West and Mentality. They're going to be pre-firing towards the top of the left stairs there, but Jaeger has since fallen long away from that area. All that's left is an ADS if they do choose to take that out. That'll give the option for Daddy West, though, to start pushing towards these cool vibes stairs. It does have the G8 in hand and plenty of bullets to go with it. However, we'll have to fight against Mac on the way down. Alda, even more bullets. And that's not really a fight you want to take unprepared. And that will be a cue for Daddy West to not push that as heavily. Track Stingers will go out to deny that flank, and the will start going out from above.
Yep, and I do believe that Rocket actually does have the super shorty. I believe that is the gun that, yep, using the super shorty to clean out the floor. And I think that Doc might be trying to get a flank at some point, as he's still sitting in main lobby here, right around Blue Bar, or sorry, not Blue Bar, but like main lobby bar. We'll see exactly if they're going to push down there. It is important to note that we are at a minute 10, and not really much has happened except for top floor control, which is important, of course, but that isn't particularly accomplishing anything much right now, especially with a minute left in the round. Nobody has died. Nothing is going on. It looks like now we're seeing Not Salmon being pushed by 2 different people. One being actually 3 by the looks of it now. Yeah, you got the IQ, Sophia, and Gridlock.
Yeah, this is very much a heavy pink bar take. However, it's interesting to see the Ash of K9 playing all the way up inside of Billiards. Daddy West does find the first kill of the round with only 40 seconds left on the clock. Not Salmon going down right away is not great. 1 Toxic Babe does go out, so that'll be 10 seconds of denial. But the Hard Breach gadget actually being used by the blue card will open up a quick little plant hole into the couch area. Smoke bullets going out to cover for that plant and hopping up onto the couch to prevent any sort of peeking angles, but Bladeroid will push right through the smoke. The thermal camera from the Evil Eye will spot that out. Plant's still going to keep going down, but the first shot from Daddy West will find his target onto Fiasco. Finds the second onto Bladeroid, who does fall down to Mr. Fundamentals, who's trying to clean up the round. Not quite able to hit the shots, and does go down to the player on Cool Vibes, but Mac is able to trade it back, finds another onto K9, and they go down, but the plant is once again being used by Rocket, very, very low HP at this point, and the Maestro cam closing out the round for NYT.
It looked like he did try to body block. You can't see it on the kill cam, but you can see it on the, yeah, okay, you saw the giant blood splatter there. But it looked like Mr. Fundamental got it and just sprayed well enough through the smoke that everyone was low enough to be killed by the Maestro cam. So good on the Doc at the time to make everyone low just to try and fan it out, but also good effort by the Thatcher there to try and prevent the down before the plant.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much you can do at that point. Gridlock doesn't really have time to pull off of that plant and go for behind the shield. And a really nicely placed Maestro cam as well, especially for the push that RIT chose to go for and just really just double down on at the end. I mean, we saw the plant go down 3 or 4 times. They really, really wanted to get that diffuser down. It just didn't quite work out.
Yep, and now we see, it looks like they're doing reverse rotation here, doing Hookah last, moving into Kitchen Service for their second defense, bringing a Mozzie Mute combo, as well as Legion and Mira, under the assumption that they might bring a Monty, because they did see a Monty at least shown in round 1. Didn't end up being brought. And apart from that, looks like everything else is pretty normal. And there is no swap as far as I can tell on RIT's side in terms of operators here.
Yeah, I kind of hoping that we're going to see K9 be a bit more influential on the entry frags this time around, and we did see them playing upstairs above the office area inside of billiards, but it was unfortunately not quite enough to give the pressure needed, as Daddy West was
5 seconds left.
responsible for 3 of the kills for RIT that round.
Yep, and it looks like we did lose
Attackers
one
are
drone
moving
here
out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
over Rocket, so that's a important note that they only have 9 drones left instead of 5, or 9 drones left instead of 10, which is really big, especially on the because that's the reason why they lost, as far as I can tell. On the last one was literally intel and just planting just too far to the right because they didn't exactly know where that Maestro camp was.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna. I mean, they don't have to worry about the Maestro camps this time around, so that'll probably be a little bit of relief for them. This time around, they do have to worry about roamers upstairs. Starting to make their way in towards Bladeroid. Shots will be going out both ways, but only finding a target of Flashbang will go out, but Jaeger is nowhere to be seen. And now they're peeking once again back towards that angle. They do find the kill onto K9, and that will be the opening pick for NYT. And a nice one at that will open up a lot of options for the roam later on, but the Jaeger has to be very, very careful as the gridlock of Rocket is waiting just at the top of White Stairs, knows exactly where this luggage player is, and has been droned out.
Yep, and it looks like he's just going back into the central courtyard because you can run out onto luggage onto that roof, and it looks like Jaeger might even try to flank around. Nope, he's going back into the office on the southwest side and going back to where he held before, at least in last round. So now we're at a minute 30, so we're about a minute in. It looks like they managed to get top floor control again. Let's see if that actually amounts to something. As before, it didn't actually do much. It looks like someone got down through the floor. The Mira downing the Zofia through the floor when she made the hole up there. Also now, Mira does have the 1.5 and ends up getting the refrag from Blue Card, looking not exactly the way that vertical play. And a whiff C4 from Not Sound in there, trying to get Daddy West by the looks of it. And we have a minute left in the round, and we are at even aside here.
Yeah, Not Sound has to be very, very careful about the positioning. I mean, there's floor holes basically every angle that they could possibly try to play here, except for exactly where they're at. So any wrong missteps there could lead to a very, very expedited death. That being said, it looks like Mr. Fundamentals was not droned out inside of security by Rocket just yet. Will spot out Not Salmon and call that their team, but it's actually a mentality to find the next pick down through the courtyard onto Fundamentals of all players, and that will open up the Mozzie off the board and give them a little bit more pressure on the site push as they don't have to worry about flank anymore.
Yeah, and it looks like Blue Card has not used any of his smokes yet. We do not have a C4 out of the gate. We saw that being used earlier, and it looks like all of the bolts are coming in, and now they're smoking out bathrooms so that he can now plant right next to there. Let's see if the shotgun comes in and checks him, and it looks like he does with the shotgun. He gets 2 with the shotgun. That powerful English shotgun being probably one of the most potent weapons here. And I believe they just ran out of time. Yeah, they just ran out of time because they went in for the plant and the power of the English shotgun just cleaning everything up.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen how powerful the Mossberg pump shotgun has been throughout many, many seasons. I mean, it's been a staple of Siege for just about as long as it's been around. Has a pretty hefty range, a really, really solid amount of damage, and just an all-around versatile weapon, whether it's against players or against walls. Still a great weapon nonetheless, and that's definitely being proved by Salmon there.
Yeah, but it looks like we're going to be having an admin rehost here as we manage to find the fantastic bug that sometimes when you get on a drone, you only get the drone whirring sound all the time, and then you can't hear any other game sound. And that is one of the current issues, or current common bugs we see these days. Fortunately, the game has gotten significantly more stable out of TTS, but there still are some issues that pop up. Now, what do you think they're going to do? Because they have to go up to the top of their rotation, so they're going to be up in hookah, we assume.
Right.
So what do you think they'll do up here that impacts, or I guess the more accurate question would be is, since RIT now knows that NYT is likely going to be up there, what do you think they'll do to turn it around to win the round? Because they're in a very larger deficit than they probably assumed they would be, especially for their first map.
If I had to guess towards strategy, I'm assuming that RIT is going to go for a hold inside of VIP, potentially locking down luggage as well, just trying to get that top floor in as cordoned off as they can get it. Um, Probably going to be seeing some gridlock track stingers on both of the staircases as early as possible to cut down those rotates as well. But if I had to guess, probably a hot breach if necessary to get those sightlines onto billiards for default plant. I think that's at least the best way that they're going to have to try to open this site up against NYT. That being said, NYT has some very solid operators I saw on the board there as well. I believe we saw Maestro, Elysian, a lot of denial to slow down the push of RIT as long as possible and force them to get a little bit hectic near the end.
Yeah, I also wonder to see if we'll see specifically vertical play leverage, as Hookah is the first map that we've seen that we can use vertical play in the other direction, being from down to from first floor to second floor instead of vice versa. We've seen them trying to do it, so I wonder if they'll bring a buck just to be able to try and leverage that, as they've had reasonable success at least clearing out a floor, as we've seen that NYT does not like holding floors. They have a rather soft roam in that particular respect.
Right, we've seen a very horizontal spread to their operators and how they're based throughout the map. I think that's rather indicative of just, like you said, not wanting to take those vertical engagements, especially against the ARs with the scopes that the attackers are able to bring to the table. Makes those not exactly the best opportunity for a gunfight. I mean, obviously, we can potentially see a shotgun used against them that way. We see it in Pro League and Challenger League quite a bit, but it's not the best bet when you want to keep your operators alive.
Yeah. And we're in the midst of the rehost currently. So we're just going to go on a quick break here as we are cleaning up the rehost as restarting clients. Yay! Because that's the thing that has to happen sometimes because bugs are dumb.
All right, rehost is settled. Welcome back, everyone. Hope that you've all stayed around. We're going to be getting started in just a second here. Back on Coastline. Score was 2-0 in favor of NYT for those of you just tuning in. And RIT is on attack, NYT on defense.
Yeah, and now we're going back upstairs, or we think they'll be going upstairs. And we'll see if we actually end up seeing the same setup here. As a reminder, we are doing 5 aside, so we'll be doing 5 rounds per side, I believe. It is 6 now? Okay, it is 6. Great. Okay, cool. So we're doing 6 rounds aside here. And yep, we're going back upstairs or we are finally going upstairs miraculously. We do see that Maestro pick who was so potent in round 1.
Yeah, it looks like a 6 pick off the sledge to the IQ. Looks like I'm not quite sure what the sledge was being brought for originally, or if that was just intended to be picked as a 6th. Either way, IQ will definitely help with finding the goo mines, the pests of Mozzie, Jaeger's ADSs, and I mean the evil eyes of Maestro to a point. Can't really deal with them, but can at least spot them out for the team.
Attackers need to locate.
Yep, and now we are. It looks like we're just doing a rather standard defense here. One of the best things implemented, if you didn't know, aside from being able to change the color of your own scope, is you now have a pool. So you aren't. So if you have a 3-speed, they can do whatever they want, while your 2-speed and 1-speed go and get all the reinforcements done. It saves you a lot of time, and it prevents everyone from running around everywhere. It gives you a more efficient setup during your 30-second setup time in Siege, which is really, really nice. Solid quality of life.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, we saw that put to very good use right away. Salmon only has really the shield to
5
set up
seconds
for
left
themselves
before
as their gadget. So they'll be using all 4 reinforcements on the
Attackers'
quad wall
objective is to
in
locate a bomb and
billiards,
defuse
as well as grabbing 1 wall on top of Blue upstairs. And it still has plenty of time to make that rotate, only about 5 seconds into the round. Very much a good use of that reinforcement pool to start that off, and definitely well practiced by NYT.
Yep, and it looks like we have. I don't even know if that was. Must have been a Twitch drone. Wasn't a Twitch drone. I wonder what he got hit by. Oh, did it spray through the window? I don't know what he got hit by. Why?
Yeah, it's just a little sliver of damage. That's really surprising.
bomb located
Because
by
it's
attackers.
slightly more than 5 health, so I have absolutely no clue what it is. As we see Mr. Fundamentals, he is going to be playing inside of Kitchen. Kitchen bathroom, just waiting for stuff to come in. So we see people coming into Blue Bar, at least breaking windows and droning in. Oh, and it looks like he did tag a drone here. And it doesn't look like they know where the drone is. And we'll probably see the use of a powerful yellow ping, and it seems like a second drone got snagged. We saw that up on the other blue circle thing there. So it looks like we do have 2 drones tagged there. As we
Attackers
see
have located a bomb.
and Mr. Fundamental just waiting in their specific locations for someone to come get them.
Yeah, and it's just going to be a patience game really here for Later Aid, as they're just waiting towards this Blue Bar angle. Rocket mentality trying to build their way inside of Aqua, but not really going to get too much out of it. They do get a shot onto the Legion. Bar being penable will give them a bit of a advantage there, but Mac finds the first kill onto K9. Fiasco does take a lot of damage into that asphyxiation bolt, but Daddy West will find a kill onto Mac. That is the Maestro down in control of the Evil Eye cameras lost. And that will definitely apply a lot more pressure onto this site. We do have 3 members of RIT up on Aquabalk. They have droned out the Legion at this point, so pre-fire working out and down into the wall. I believe that was Daddy West. A toxic babe canister could end up being a team kill here. Let's see if it doesn't actually end up that way, as Daddy West will finish off that kill. And that will fall all down to Fundamentals down on the first floor to try to hold down this row. Looks like they're just going to take a pre-fire towards Blue Bar and fall back.
Yeah, but it looks like Mr. Fundamentals is going to have to rotate all the way back around, probably through luggage, and maybe tag them. We have 3 people in all. No C4 at all by the looks of it. And the only C4 is all the way outside, as we're seeing Zofia now getting rid of all the barbs and trying to make it to the land. I do believe that was the second one here. Mentality tagging Glatteroid. And now we have Mr. Fundamentals coming in on the long flank. And it looks like we're going to see that German shotgun come in and wide peak. No, unable to wide peak on the shotgun. Mentality getting it. And those track singers are doing a particularly fantastic job. I don't think that Mentality will be able to take, or Mr. Fundamentals will be able to. They have 3 people looking down that hallway, and that wasn't going to end well. So good round for RIT.
Yeah, and a nice job by them to take arguably one of the more favored sites on the map. It seems like it is the 3rd site for NYT, so this could be a very reverse-sided map rotation, at least in favor of New York. But interesting round play out there. I mean, it definitely worked a lot better in favor of RIT. It'll be the question of whether or not they can keep that momentum going.
Yep, and now we're going to Sunrise Blue Bar. Back to the first site they went with that Doc, who did an incredibly good job of just whittling away people's health. Castle, Smoke, Jaeger, Maestro. Maestro being likely the most potent here. We get to see a Ying, maybe? Do we get to see some actual Ying play? Please? I want to see something different.
I mean, the Candelas are really good for clearing out ADSs as long as they are able to detonate before being in range, just due to how they break into 7 pellets. But that being said, I don't know if we'll see it. It looks like that does end up being an operator that's brought, so that'll be a little treat for you there.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Yep, and it looks like we're doing downstairs. We'll see how much upstairs presence we have. As you saw, the upstairs presence being relatively weak, being there, but falling back really quickly here. And it looks like Fiasco is going to do the exact same castle barricade as before. And it looks like we have our standard utility, 4 barbed wire, 1 shield, and 2 bulletproof cams. Will be interesting to see where those end up going. And on the attacker side, we do see the new hard breach utility. It makes a little square, so basically primarily gives you line of sight or one really
10 seconds
good
to
crouch
insertion.
hole if you know exactly where to put it. Maybe even a vault hole too. I haven't personally
5 seconds to go.
Yeah, and I mean, with that being brought, well, we did see it
Attackers'
used
objective is
on
to defuse
the
the bomb.
first wall to Sunrise Bar the last time, but it also ended up being somewhat detrimental just due to how the Maestro cam was positioned. Interesting to see if they use that differently on this round to try to avoid that potential disaster.
Yep, and it looks like as the round has started, they're going to be droning out upstairs in Hookah. So we'll see if they'll be able to hold that, as it looks like we have the Victor in the exact same places as before and droned out. So this is going to be a little bit problematic to try and get through. We only have 1 person on Hookah right now trying to get tagged from base and nearly getting it with the bullets and down and killed by shooting through there. Oh, by the Ash coming in through billiards here. It managed to pin down the Jaeger long enough for them to be able to tag that. So now we're in a 5v4, realizing the setup as NYT did not change a whole lot here. We see track stingers going out. I don't even know where that was thrown from. Oh yeah, so it looks like Rocket just walked over there and threw it that way to prevent the rotate. So now they look like they have full top floor control, which is going to be really difficult to deal with here. Though this happened before and NYT.
Yeah, and we're going to once again see those breach charges come out from Mentality, just trying to open up the floorboards as much as possible, open up as many sight lines down below into Sunrise, get those angles set up for later. We did see them come in effectively from, I believe it was K9 the previous time that we were here, but Not 7 is, luckily for them, under a hard roof. Nothing to worry about vertically there. They just have to worry about anyone who's going to try to push in through either the Sunrise double door or from the way back kitchen. And that looks like it's going to be Blue Card and Daddy West getting set up on that, and Rocket there for support as well. Firebolt from Capitao does fall a little short and will give the Smoke to play around with. First Toxic Babe does come out, about a minute left on the clock, and I believe the second there as well, so that'll be only one Toxic Babe left on the board for Not Salmon. Make that and fall to their song. We'll give the attackers about 30 seconds to play with without having to worry about any of that flash. Push into sight and get 2 kills. That is very, very influential for RIT. It's only a 2v5 now, as K9 is set up outside of kitchen. Will find the kill onto Fiasco, and it's all down to the dock once again. But another headshot from K9 will close out the round, and flawless at that for RIT, evening out the scoreboard 2-2.
Yeah, that's definitely much better. So what happened here, as far as I can gather, is that RIT adapted and NYT did not. Because as we saw, their basic setup was functionally the same, and then they were able to drone out and then kill the Jaeger, and then it kind of fell apart from there after the Jaeger died in phases. Now, we'll see if they change anything here. They saw the success of Ying, so it looks like they're going to be rolling that back, at least at first blush here, as they're doing kitchen service enters with Mira, and again, no Echo or Maestro, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, once again seeing that Ying picked as well. It will be switched to the IQ as NYT does fall back to their second side of kitchen, not going to opt to run back blue bar. I'm assuming that's just due to they
Attackers
feel like
need
the
to
jig is
locate
kind
and
of up,
defuse bombs.
so they're going to stick to a site that they've already won previously and try to keep it set that way. We did see RIT sort of fall apart on the service entrance push at the end of the round previously. They went in for the plant inside of service, and then the double pump from the shotgun of Not Salmon was a very, very deciding factor.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
Yep, and it looks like we're just doing the standard hold here, or at least nothing particularly crazy on the hold. You have to rotate round down behind the bomb. And with 13 seconds left in the prep round, it doesn't look like anything crazy. It looks like Mr. Fundamentals is just staying on the south side of the map, taking a look here, reinforcing the entirety of Blue Bar. I don't know if that, excuse me, if that's particularly normal. I don't remember that happening that often. So it looks like that's going to be another stronghold here.
Attackers bomb diffuser has been dropped. Attackers recovered the
That does
diffuser.
take away 5 reinforcements from kitchen, though, and that will leave the entirety of quad wall watching towards. It looks like that is by design, as Mac has shotgunned out a good deal of that. Shadow Launch Mirror does have the 1.5x, so a little bit less influential against Mira here, but we'll have to be very, very careful about that window being opened up from a much more ranged position. First things first, Bladeroid is droned out. We know that their RIT knows where they are. K9 will be pushing for that, full sprinting down the hallway trying to get that kill as quickly as possible, but Bladeroid is inside of theater. Red ping will come out, and the drop will be called to the rest of the team. Actually, not quite yet. Doesn't look like that is called out, but Bladeroid has dropped down and fallen back on site. Only about half their health bar gone. They'll be choosing to play lobby, at least for now.
Yeah, but it looks like they have the tracks going out on all the places we're playing. As there only are 2 ways you can actually get up on Coastline, unlike which seems to be the standard these days. And I think they've made, at least when they do reworks on maps, they've made it up to 3. Normally, at least from what I remember. Now it looks like we're going to be hearing Ash charges and lots of breach charges galore. They heard them going to C4 with C4 coming out by the mute. I guess they're like dropped, and then Not Salmon tagging one. And it looks like we got a trade. Ah, that doesn't happen that often. A trade onto the IQ, which might actually matter this time around, especially with the Legion still on the map, or still on the board throwing stuff out, and how late this push is looking to be.
Yeah, and Danny West did have a lot of kills on favor of RIT, so that could be a very, very influential pick, as you mentioned. Now, Mac is inches away from seeing blue card here. The track steamers will not be giving any info to either side. 2 1.5x's pitted against each other, but Mentality will pick up a kill onto Fiasco, and that is the Legion off the board. I believe all the goo mines will have been generated at this point.
Yeah, and also important to mention here, nobody's on site and nobody has realized site is empty. We're in this really weird take right now where it looks like RIT is ahead, but nobody was in sight for a good 20 seconds. Now with 30 seconds left, we only have Bladeroid on site. Nobody else is there. So we'll have to see if Bladeroid will be able to save it here. It looks like we have one upstairs. That would be Sophia taking out some more. It looks like should have eyes on the feet of Bladeroid. Dropping down flashes, as you can see. Yep, walking in, taking that rotation out. Now we're in a 1v3 with Mr. Fundamentals, tagging one. I believe that's Diffuser down. And we'll see if they can get another one. Oh, saw him way late on the pan here.
15 seconds remaining.
And that's at 50 health here. He tagged the other one. Oh, no. Was unable to down the other one inside. Courtyard, and now we have a firefighter. Let's see who pushes out and wins it. Oh, Mentality wins it, so now we're in a 1v1 situation. Let's see if he can do it fast enough. Okay, human drone got, and they don't know where the other person is. Let's see if he tries it. No,
Defenders have eyes on the diffuser.
Blue card winning it out because the Mozzie looked the wrong way. That was a 1 round 2. Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say that's anything but sheer dumb luck for blue card there. There's really, it was a 50-50 chance that it was a win for Mr. Fundamentals there. Really unfortunate that it didn't turn out that way for them. Really fortunate for RIT. But yeah, just a really unfortunate firefight in Courtyard against Mentality. did kind of almost cost them the round, but they were able to bring it back and pull themselves ahead in the scoreline for the first time in this series.
Yeah, and now we're in a 5-2, which is very favorable because this is excuse me, most of these maps are defensive sided. I believe the normal here is 4-2 or 3-3. I believe just due to how Coastline is that since it's so entry frag heavy, it does skew more percentage wise towards the 3-3. Because if you can get entry frags in as an attacker, then you are statistically more likely to win, and that isn't necessarily the case on all
Defenders,
maps.
protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
No, I mean, there are definitely maps that have been defenders in the past, and definitely are maps that still are. But all things considered, I think that NYT has done a very good job at holding down their defenses. Every round has been very, very close that they've lost, but that being said, they're going to run it back to Kitchen once again. It looks like they're opting for the same setup that they had last round. This is very, very close to working out for them, so they're going to try to run it one more time in their last defense round and just try to make that work out and even
10
up the
seconds
scoreline.
remaining.
Yep, and now
5
we're
seconds
seeing,
left
yep, they're
before.
trying it again because they did, I wouldn't peg it as functionally winning that
Attackers are
site,
heading out
even
to the
though they did
future
not actually win. They could say, hey, our method worked, we just literally looked the wrong way because we didn't have inside intel. So I think that it is rather reasonable for them to pick the same side again as they had functionally won that round. So they know that their strategy works, and let's hope to see if that we can adapt. We see that NYT adapts, and Gladroy getting an early pick, leaving the diffuser outside. I don't even know where that was from.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Yeah, very good question. I didn't see them really at all. That must have been a peek.
Oh, upstairs window. There it is.
Oh, what a nasty angle. Is that a singular punch hole on the luggage window?
Yeah, singular punch hole in the lower right of window, and saw them coming in. If you come in close, you can see right off the right side edge there, wheeling around the outside if you don't vault over the potted plants there. Holy cow.
Oof, yeah, wow, that's unfortunate for blue card.
Yep. And now it looks like we have him holding upstairs, not seeing anyone past him, and now suddenly gets droned out, hearing the drone, and then gets immediately reflagged by Daddy West. But that was a potent first kill. Killing the Capitao, I believe, is all the smokes. If we could see that for a second. Oh, no, it was not all the smokes, but the best smokes, more accurately, as they have 6 smokes, at least originally on the side, which is a very, very high number, and only 4 flashes and a few breach charges. So this is a wild set here, at least in terms of loadout for the attackers.
Yeah, Mentality will be setting up with the help of K9 above site. They're going to start working towards the breach onto vertical, it seems like. Maybe not at the moment. Not Salmon's still pretty safe. So does go out, but will go wide, not doing a whole lot of damage to K9. But that will force Salmon to fall back at least a little bit. Not going to play for these shotgun verticals just yet. No way to confirm where K9 may or may not.
Yep, and it looks like they have their full upstairs control with a minute left. They don't know where Salmon is yet by the looks of it, because they haven't been able to flesh him out, but he is in the exact same position as before, where he was extremely close to the shotgun. And it looks like they have dropped, and Fiasco got pegged out by Daddy West here with a whole lot of utility being used. I think there was another grenade that went out there too, not entirely sure. And it looks like we see, yeah, now we have both people on the Cool Vibe stairs and in Sunrise. Let's see if we get the head. Yep, we got the head. Diffuser down. Doing the 3v3 here. It looks like Doc is holding his own. As we see Daddy West pen out and Ash. So now we are just waiting to see exactly how this push pans out, as I don't know where the... Okay, so the third one's outside the window. Mr. Fundamentals tagging Daddy West, doing those quick peeks with the 1.5 here, trying to figure out where he is, and he manages not to tag a third, but really heavily damages the third. And Mac and Not Salmon cleaning up the damage that the Doc did. I think that the Doc won the round there. He was able to hold his position in blue bar and just clean everything up because they could not push through him.
Right, and I mean, the MP5, especially in that situation, just a really, really strong weapon. I mean, of course, just even better in the hands of NYT, being able to land those shots very, very consistently. Just tore apart RIT's push down Cool Vibe stairs, and losing Daddy West especially didn't help. 8-1 up until that point. Very, very impactful fragger for RIT.
Yep, and now we're 3-3, and now we see the Malusi. Mild surprise that we actually... Both Malusi and Ace. First time we've seen both the new operators. Oh, I lied. That makes me less disappointed, I guess, because nobody really wants to see Malusi because Malusi is significantly more annoying than many of the other defensive operators, at least in terms of how it is currently balanced. And we see the Thermite swapping to a Lion, which is kind of wild. So it quicker going to be hard pushing as Ace's gun. The AK-12 is one of the better guns in the ring, both in fire rate and in damage. So doing a quicker push is something that definitely would make sense for this competition.
Yeah, I really would have to agree. But going back to that 6th pick onto the Pulse Spaghettios, that indicates, at least to me, an office hold. So I'm assuming that RIT is expecting a push from NYT through that office side, trying to clear out Aqua, and most likely a rappel onto that later as well. Most likely that's going to be held down by the castle barricades. See those placed to slow down any sightline openings for NYT from that half of the map. Another castle barricade on VIP, and the last on the pool window, just trying to block off those longer sightlines from exterior angles.
Yep, and we also saw the castle using those newfangled proximity alarms, which is something that I believe, was that also the most recent patch as well? I believe it is.
I believe that was last in Skill Wave.
Yeah, okay, so it was 2 patches ago, but we get to see those proximity alarms used a little bit. They already have a bathroom over in Penthouse open, but the proximity alarm's in a really sneaky place inside the chair sneakily taking out 2 drones there. Good job. Sneakily inside the chair in Aqua, so we'll see if they'll be able to find that. So in the little chair we saw him throw it. So just sitting there on the little pillow, taking a nap, waiting for all these people to show up. As it looks like we have full-blown push into Penthouse. Everyone kind of just committing there, with Ace jumping outside to maybe try and clear out the first floor on his own, as his gun is apt to do.
Being dropped inside a bathroom. That is potentially very bad for NYT here. If they forget about that, looks like Fundamentals has not put that up, but if they had forgotten about that, that could have been very, very damaging later in the game. Looks like Fundamentals and Fiasco are going to be clearing out Theater. That could be a kill for Patty West here if the scanner does find them. However, they've all moved on to concrete flooring, and that will remove any potential of those vertical kills, at least for now. Just down to intel for RIT.
Yeah. Now it looks like we have... I don't know. Alright, they don't have the heart breach yet. Okay, so they still have Ace. Ace is up there, so it looks like Ace has opened the side from VIP, viewing into Billiardist. So we do have a very good sight line here. Let's see if we can tag it. So that Maestro has to stay prone. I don't think that Maestro can actually go anywhere else at this point, as the Zofia will likely end up opening that castle door, and Rocket getting eyes there on the prone rotate. Fiasco taking out Rocket down on the 4v5 Maestro dev, which means those cameras are locked, and 50 seconds left in the round here. This opponent also does as well, while taking a reasonable amount of health here.
Yeah, Blue Card will choose this opportunity to fall back to Luka. Daddy West finds a headshot on the Fiasco, and that would be Nomad down. Air Jab's still up and present though. Mac also there in luggage to close out one of those kills. And it'll be down to K9 to sort of close down that side of the map. Blue Card does manage to find one onto Not Salmon, but Bladeroid will immediately trade that back. And a toxic baby kill after death does close out Mr. Fundamental's life. Maybe in a 1v2 situation for K9. Plant does go down, but no one's peeking towards K9. In fact, even less opportunities to peek that as his smoke grenade is used.
Yep, and it looks like the plant has gone down, so now we're in a 1v2. Let's see if the Ace and K9 walk into each other, as that is something that is apt here. You don't hear it, and they are right next to each other, and it looks like we have the white piece. Okay, so the Free Fire here tagging it, and the prone taking the headshot. Interestingly enough, I believe the reason why the line got down is because the difference between ticks between 2 speed and 3 speed, based on how the cloud was. If it was a 3 speed, I think the Lion might have made it. But since the Lion is 2 speed, they could not make it through the cloud fast enough before the second tick procs.
Yeah, just unfortunate timing there, as you mentioned, not being able to make it quite all the way through. I mean, they still won the round regardless, with a pretty decent margin left as far as health is concerned, but having the Lion there would have made it even a little bit easier.
Yeah, definitely having one extra body in a 1v3, even if it is just a body blocker to figure out where someone is incredibly useful in these particular cases. And now we see a 6-pick from Pulse onto Castle, which is rather interesting. And then from IQ onto something else, I guess IQ onto Lion again. Okay, so it looks like we actually have the same on each side here. Actually, Mute, I believe, was someone else before.
Yeah,
Defenders,
Mute was
protect your bombs from
previously
being
the
defused
Pulse
by
for
attackers.
Daddy West.
Right. Mute was previously the Pulse, so it looks like they have swapped that over to, and the Castle has swapped sides as well as the Boom is actually the Castle. It looks like they're going to try a similar stat this time, at least as to where the Castle positions go. We'll see how that pans out, as this map did, at least last time they went up here, did end in a 1v3, which is not exactly where you want to go. If it ended a 1v1, I could see, like, okay, we can make some slight improvements and then get there, but a 3v1 is definitely a lot worse for wear.
Right, and I mean, especially seeing the Pulse be left behind in favor of a Mute, I'm not quite sure what actually that switch up. They didn't really
Attackers must locate
have
and
the
defuse the bomb.
Pulse's Nitro Cell be all that effective last round, but I'm assuming that Intel must have been part of that play, just being able to deny that sort of entry. But it seems like they're opting for the Mute Jammers to sort of shut down the drone presence, at least from what I can tell of NYT.
Yep. And now it looks like K9 is just sitting up in Projector, waiting for people to come in, and they know that they hear Not Salmon outside. Multiple people repelling Projector, and that was definitely a rather ballsy move here. As it looks like they're also going to be getting Bathroom open, like Bathroom is about to be opened, at least it looks like based on the outlines we see. And yep, Bathroom is already open, and Bathroom drop. Let's see if Diego manages to tag the Zofia. The answer is not, but the drone's coming in here. Just trading lots of bullets, but nobody actually dealing damage to anyone here. And this is a rather risky situation for K9. I don't believe K9 has any particular support, so K9 is falling back to a at least marginally more protected place.
Yeah, and the drone of Fiasco will go check towards top white. We'll notice that the Jaeger's not there, notice that they couldn't have gone that far, and we'll spot them just outside of 90 corner. That will allow Not Salmon to start moving forward with that pre-fire, but K9 will be long gone at this point, all the way back to base.
Yep, and now we are moving. Yep, Daddy West is slowly walking in downstairs. Might actually run into Mr. Fundamentals incidentally. We'll see. Nope, Mentality not swinging out right enough to be gotten by Mr. Fundamentals. Now with a minute 20 left, nobody has died and no real movement has been made. Okay, so it looks like they did manage to get VIP. I can't tell from here if they got, okay, look, there goes the VIP wall with the ace going into billiards. So now we have one downstairs. We still have the Mute downstairs, and everyone else is upstairs by the looks of it. Nope, 2 down. Yep. Yeah, just the Mute downstairs. So I guess Mute is just waiting for the C4 to be thrown to deny the plan in billiards default. And now with 50 seconds left on the clock, it looks like we're going to have to start pushing, because, oh boy, there ain't a lot of time. As Mentality gets tagged and is now getting pinged by the Lion. This just ain't going to end all. Oh, it! Plug it! As we get the swing out from Zofia. And then Zofia manages to tag too, and then K9 gets Mr. Fundamentals, and now we're in a 3v4. Oh boy, that was rather unfortunate. Not Salmon on a slip of health. 3 sets don't exist, and I don't think they exactly have enough time for it, so they just kind of got to go for it. And maybe let's see if we can get a 4 coming in quick here with the shotgun through the floor, being able to play here. Zofia is definitely at great risk of death here with 17 seconds left in the round. Mark has to push into site eventually. Yep, Zofia getting down, Mark's getting tagged, and now Mark is finally planting. Lincoln going to be taken. I think we'll see a C4 from below, which might tag one. Yep, C4 from below, and now we're in a 1v3. Oh boy. Yep. Oh, it missed the shotgun. There we go. Okay. We did it.
Right, and there's the closing shots from Blue Card there. Unfortunately, Quick peaked a little bit too fast, so the reinforced wall ate that first pellet. Second pellet's not quite at the right angle. Third time is the charm, and RIT will once again even out the scoreline for themselves. 4-4 split here. Could we see a potential tie on the very first map?
That would be wild. I wouldn't be surprised based on how this is going back and forth. Let's see if we get a hard pick Malusi this time for kits and service. Definitely significantly more useful, as you do have to melee the Malusi and or blow it up. So placing it behind the desk there is an incredibly powerful position. And we actually see Echo being picked for the first time here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the Echo is something that I'm really surprised wasn't brought earlier, saying that it's been on the board for 8 rounds. especially with having 2 mobile invisible cameras that can stop the plant. Just a really strong gadget, and part of the reason why Echo saw almost 4 seasons straight of a 90+% ban rate.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
And it's
bomb.
kind of, and Jaeger's interestingly the opposite, where I believe that Jaeger, as with the last metric published,
Attackers
is
have located the
a
bomb.
94% pick rate on rounds, I believe is what Jaeger's is. So if you look at the charts that Ubisoft publishes, he's just off into like the next county or something over on the right-hand side of their metrics. He's just so wildly out of whack, even above the Wamai,
Attackers have
who
discovered the location
even
of a
has a
bomb.
comparable gun, right? Like the AUG, I think, is close to the carbine in damage from what I vaguely
10
remember.
seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, I believe it is.
5 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, I can't say that for certain. What I can say though is that
Attackers'
this
objective is to
site
defuse
hold
the bomb.
from RIT seems to be very focused on roam. I mean, we see 2 operators on site, 3 operators upstairs. It looks like Daddy West might fall back after placing these jammers to support Kano Mentality. It looks like Mentality is actually going to be the one to drop down back into the courtyard and fall into site once again. Melissa
Attackers' bomb
being an
diffuser has
impactful
been
player
dropped.
both in and
Attackers have
outside of
recovered
site
their
due to the
diffuser.
Banshee devices. So whatever that happens to impact later will be interesting to see. I believe this is the first time we've seen Melusi, at least on this map. So how that plays out will be very interesting for us.
Yeah, we are rather fortunate that they did hotfix Melusi once, so now it's only a half circle like Mute is now, instead of a sphere like it originally was, because that would be really a problem if it was a sphere. So I'd be curious to see if Melusi actually gets used. Not necessarily in that the things are placed, but the things actually trigger and do things. Now, I don't know where the Melusis are placed currently. I can't actually tell exactly where those are. There's probably one at each of the doors and one at the window, is what I'd hazard. Could also be one on the stairs as well.
Activating cell
So we definitely saw one in service.
Oh, yeah. So that's just one deep into service. It looks like one's on the bathroom, as we see Bladderoid taking out K9 upstairs. Yep. Taking the sweep out there. It looks like we have the Mute shotgun trying to scare out the sledge, winning every fight, because I don't think, if the shotgun player has view first and you're close enough, I don't think I've ever seen that Mossberg lose.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. It's such a powerful weapon, and especially at those close ranges, you really don't want to fight it if you can avoid it. And that's exactly why they're going to be taking the vertical pressure that they are inside of Master and VIP. But they do have to worry about the roam of Daddy West on White Stairs. Looks like Fiasco is aware the drones from Mac and Mr. Fundamental will be trying to find that, and they do. First punch on the Melusi will take it out, and that will be the last intel that Daddy West gets before the Lion scan goes off, forcing them to save for at least a small amount of time.
Yep, it is important to note that because the sled was the first person killed, they now actually have an incredibly difficult time opening up the floor, so they have to deal with charges. And that is a lot less utility there, as the one pump did not get any picks onto Not Selman there, as Blue Card dies after taking out Bladderoids. But to be fair, there is only 25 seconds left, so having to push all the way downstairs is going to be incredibly difficult here, as because nobody is anywhere in sight. Not Selman taking out Daddy West here, and that was in main lobby. And now we have to, and now we're in a 2v4 with a silenced gun, which is not particularly often here. As Fiasco's coming in, trying to tag. Oh, there goes the Melusi, as we saw. Not Selman getting Rocket, and now we're in a 1v4, highly unlikely here. And we're in a 2. Manages to get at least one down for them stats. But past that, NYT won that round, and now we are favoring again NYT here.
Yeah, and I mean, they're only 2 rounds away from taking this map for themselves. It is only map 1 of the series. There will be a second one coming up after that. But if they are on RIT's map pick and able to take that back, they will be in a very solid spot going onto their map pick later on.
Yep. And now let's see, they're going kitchen service again, because I mean, yeah, kitchen service. I mean, that's one of your best sites, because you just have to win at this point, because I think right now you're basically fighting for a draw. Based on the win rate we've been currently seeing by NYT here, is that that RIT has to try and fight for a draw here. As we see the Capitao being swapped out for the Lion again. Wild. to try and maybe 6-pick onto a Malusi, or not Malusi, Wamai. Oh wait, Wamai's banned, so that can't even happen. Kind of wild that they didn't choose to pick Capital then, as those bolts will go exactly where they want.
Right. I feel like the Lion, at least in this
Attackers need to
part
locate
of
and defuse
the
as
game,
many bombs as
especially
they can.
at the later stage, is just kind of about standing in for the Jackal. They really just don't want to deal with that roam presence as much as possible. We saw how effective it was at holding Daddy West in one position under the main stairs for as long as they did. I believe that was the main force that actually resulted in that kill early on. And just really shutting down that roam presence is a huge factor on Coastline.
Yep, and now it looks like we're going to be Malusi's put into the same place, just places that are, or the Banshees, just the places that are generally hard to access.
10 seconds.
As those seem to be the best places these days, depending on how you're building your hole. Yep, and that
5
powerful
seconds
yellow ping. Yep, so they're going to be putting it there because I believe that goes through the walls. So if they're trying to play it around the bed and house, it actually pegs that as well. Which is one of the more common places that people stand, especially when you're trying to get view onto behind B-bomb to break open the floor.
Right. I mean, we saw how effective the vertical play is, and it's definitely going to be as much of a factor as it was previously this round. So I'm very much looking forward to that. That being said, hatches on the roof will be opened up very shortly as soon as they drone out this bathroom. They do have to worry about the jammers from Daddy West, per usual, stopping any of that drone play, at least until anyone is able to get inside of the building to shoot them. So it will be all down to the drones of Mac and Fundamental to try to spot any operators out. Looks like Daddy West is aware of Bladeroid, not Salmon dropping due to the sound of that, but isn't going to peek just yet, doesn't want to give away their position and potentially ruin what could be a very nice set of
Attackers have
frags
dropped the
later
bomb
in the round.
diffuser.
Yeah, and it looks like with 30 seconds in, it looks like they've gotten their top floor control pretty cleanly, or at least they've entered into Qatar right now. As Daddy West is still holding a projector, it looks like they have a really tight hold, or at least attempting to have an extremely tight hold of the stairs. Now Rocket has eyes and has been tagged some onto like the door that enters VIP from Qatar. Yep, and then the head pops up and gets by Bladeroid, which means now the Maestro cams are locked in position, which could be potentially catastrophic. That sometimes happens where they're just in the wrong places. We see the Mute here trying to wide peek exactly where, oh boy, those allies are so close. Missing and getting the head a little bit there. Mentality getting Bladeroid as well. So it looks like they're closing in on the top floor. And Mentality going back down Blue Bar stairs before the Lion gets off here. Daddy tagging another one without being, wow, and getting a third. Let's see if he can get the fourth here. And now he is upstairs holding the diffuser with the Mossberg. Oh boy.
Yeah, an absolute decapitation spray. 3 headshots with the SMG-11. Not the easiest gun in the game to control, but those that can are absolute monsters with it, and I believe that's what we just saw from Daddy West. Only member left alive is Mr. Fundamentals. Does have the EE-1B scans to use, and will be very careful about pushing into Hall of Fame here. But Daddy West, like you said, has the Mossberg, is watching that angle. Drone will come out, but it's actually a push from Daddy West, and the Nitro Cell goes out. It finds its target, and once again, RIT not allowing themselves to be defeated quite yet, clawing themselves back to an even round split, 5-5 on Coastline.
Yeah, and that was a very impressive quad from West, getting triple with the SMG-11, and then the slightly less impressive, while impressive being a quad, using the C4 throw. But that was still very good on them, basically single-handedly preventing that round from going awry. And we get to see a fuse! Oh, I thought we'd get to see a fuse. I want to see some variety. I know fuse somehow has become commonplace on Cafe, which is kind of wild. But outside of Cafe, we don't see it much anymore.
Right, I mean, Fuse having 4 cluster charges at this point does open up a lot of gadget denial. I mean, you can use Fuse to deny Wamai magnets, you can use it to deny Jaeger ADSs. It takes out a huge splash radius due to shooting 5 pellets per cluster charge.
Defenders, protect your
Definitely a
bombs from being
solid
defused by attackers.
operator if you have a strat built around it, and if you're playing on a vertical take. That being said, on a horizontal take like you would need for Hookah, not necessarily as great.
Yeah, I'd say it's not really as good up here. Like, if you were doing kitchen, then it'd probably be a little bit better, but since you know that they just won that, then they kind of have to go upstairs and just...
Doorway barricaded!
The fuse is not particularly a great option. So now as we're doing functionally our basic setup here by the looks of it, and we're going to get we actually still have one castle. I'm not entirely sure where that will end up. He's just kind of holding here, hoping yellow ping to break it open. Yep. That's a really tight castle there. Holy cow. With only finishing it up while the setup is ending.
Attackers have dropped the bomb
only about
diffuser.
3 or 4 seconds before the operators from NYT would have been able to see that window. But the timing works out. We do see a very similar setup to what they ran before. Looks like the same operator lineup plus a Kaid on Rocket.
Yeah. And now, yeah, we're just sitting here waiting as they see the castle there, because now we get the other pings. So pinging the castles, I assume it is getting hit by the... Oh, just that it is now electrified. Ah, okay. So if it's put... I don't know where that is exactly. Oh, it's in the upper right corner, maybe?
I believe could it be below?
I have no idea where that is.
Yeah, I can't quite see it. It might be on the roof below. I'm not sure if I can tell from this view.
Nope.
Is it? Alright, I can't quite tell from this angle, but...
And Daddy West tagging another one, keeping his headshots high as he's holding down in security, nearly taking out a second, getting thrown there. Yep, not tagging anyone, going in for the other hit again. And yep, tags his second right here. Let's see, he might even get an ace this time. Currently, he's on a 6-0 streak, holding diffuser again with the Mossberg and an SMG in a place where it's not easy to access. Oh boy.
Yeah, and I mean, still a few operators looking like in spawn. Mr. Fundamentals, not sure what was going on there, if that was some drone work or if there was another reason for them being there. But Not Someone will be pushing in to office, trying to recover the diffuser that was dropped by Bladeroid earlier. Mr. Fundamentals will be on the drone once again, does spot out Daddy West inside of security, and that will be the cue for the Zofia to push forward. It does get very close to the end. The stack goes wide, and the Mossberg full advantage of that. The drop from K9 unfortunately turns sour as Mr. Fundamentals is able to pick up the kill with the 308. It's now a Daddy West versus the world situation, as the Mossberg is going to have to fight against both operators left for NYT. Flashbang still coming out, shots going out both ways. Daddy West at just a sliver of HP, but does down the Lion of another 4K on the round. Make that an ace for Daddy West, closing it out for RIT.
A glorious ace with the Mossberg. Oh boy, this is clip material. We'll have to get this back. Oh boy, that was, and to be entirely honest, aside from the combo of weaponry, which makes it the most optimal place for that defender to engage, that is also inherently the worst place for the diffuser to be dropped outside of that metric. And he's dropped a 20.
Yeah, wow, okay. Yeah, breaking double digits is nothing to scoff at. I mean, that's very impressive for a game.
It's breaking 20, which is holy cow. He has some heavy he has a broken back right about now. Goodness. And at least in terms of the kill count, not saying that other people aren't doing their support job, because everyone has a pile of assists, as you can see. So everyone's doing their work, but holy cow, Daddy West just doing the carry on the kill side.
Yeah, absolutely. And the switch onto the Melusi once again from Mentality, especially for Blue and Sunrise. I'm assuming that we'll be seeing those towards office and kitchen area, just to deny the potential flanks from the less desirable angles that RIT doesn't really want to hold as heavily. We will see some barbed wire from K9 to deny the pink bar push, and as well reinforcement coordination from Mentality and Rocket to close that out. Looks like we will also see office being cordoned off from blue card, Daddy West closing out the long angles from main lobby. And that will be actually a walk wall open on the bottom. Those footholes will provide a very long angle all the way from main lobby down into the site of blue wire, potentially all the way to the window. So you have to be a little bit careful about who can see what from there. You can't ever be too sure when the attackers have those high-powered optics.
Yep. Or at least the optics on average are lower, but yeah, even with the 1.5, you can definitely see very far into that. I imagine that's mostly a defender thing when you need to retake through courtyard, and that's generally where it's most useful, but definitely it's more of a detriment in the early portions of the round.
Yeah, it definitely is. It looks like we've got at least not too much action going on in the first 30 seconds. A lot of drone work. So they're gathering their preliminary intel, trying to figure out where everybody's playing, what they can get for free, what they need to spend some operators and utility on. And K9 will be getting spotted out here by the drone opens for fundamentals, and that will be the cue for them to start pushing onto Aqua and inside of Hookah. They do have to be careful about blue card below. Does have the Mossberg, as does Daddy West, as more and more drones will start to find K9 and really turn this into a nightmare situation that they just have to win these firefights of. Will not find the first pick onto the Zofia. Salmon winning that trade, and down goes K9, the first kill, about a minute into the round.
Yep, I mean, a minute is a really 1 minute and 50%, and that was a very unfortunate C4. Actually, it must have been just the direction of the floorboards there, because I could have sworn that the Nomad was right on top of it, and it may have actually been protected by the... Oh, was it a breach charge? Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So we have report that that was a breach charge and not a C4, though the breach charge did hit the Nomad just a little bit, as they did adjust that blowback value
A bomb
a fair
has been
amount.
located.
Instead of killing everyone on both sides, it deals significantly less damage on the back half. So now with about a minute 10 left, we only have one death and not much else. Sure, they have top floor control, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because they can hold at least blue bar entirely offsite, and they can get most of Sunshine also primarily offsite. So this is definitely going to be a really interesting take.
Yeah, blue card unfortunately is pushed very far back in Sunrise here. Has to be very, very careful about those angles that are opened up by Bladeroid and not Salmon. And that will start the EE1D scans. This is turning into hell in a cell for blue card here. The gas mask will protect them from their own toxic babes, and the enemies will have to be wary of that. 30 seconds left on the clock means that that will be basically permanently smoked until the end of the round, should blue card not be taken down. And it looks like Daddy West is here to hold the other side of Pink Bar entrance, preventing Not Salmon from getting too aggressive here. Fiasco will be pushing in, will cue the second toxic babe here from blue card. And has to be very careful as well about that propagation through the wall, but Fiasco will find a kill from the doorway. Daddy West will trade back onto Not Salmon. The E1E scan does go out. Mentality finds Fiasco, and that goes Nomad. Daddy West double kill on Mr. Fundamental, but traded back. Bladeroid finds Mentality, and RIT is able to win it out by time, closing out map 1 on their pick.
That was a fantastic map there. We got to see that kill. That was a fantastic half, and yeah, at that time, they just didn't push fast enough. So that's something we're going to want to see by NYT, is just pushing faster, and I do want to see that score line again. It's just humor beat. Yeah, it's just so that we can get 22. He has 26. Right. So does that beat, or is 27 the Pro League?
Yeah.
And they, yep, and they're asking for, yep. So that so one short of the Pro League record, which holy cow, good job on him.
Insane.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. We're gonna review the tapes on that one in colloquial terms to get all those things, especially that ace on the Mossberg, keeping that diffuser down. Oh boy.
All right. Looks like.
I think it would be good in that particular case. Yeah. So we are just going to take a quick break here. It's going to be like a 2 to 3 minute break. And then when we get back, we're going to launch into Clubhouse to see if blue card can still get his monstrous totals, because he is definitely the player to watch this match.
All right, we are back, just about getting ready to head into map 2 of Clubhouse. RIT will be starting on defense, NYT on attack. They will be both facing off on one of the most stapled maps of Siege, has been in the game since launch, basically, and really just set itself aside as one of the most competitive maps in the game. We've seen it played from all stages of really any tier, from casual pickup games all the way through the Pro League finals at 6 Invitational, so it definitely has a very long history in the game. Based on that, do you have any predictions for bans or strategies for that, Coinman?
I expect Maverick to either be used or banned. Basically, Caches lives or dies by whether or not Thatcher and Maverick get banned. So Maverick being the first ban, as I was saying, because you can Maverick trick the wall. So for any wall, if you didn't know, that is completely bound and attached by the top and bottom of the reinforcement. If you draw a straight line with your Thatcher on the top and bottom of the reinforcement, or at least close to the top and bottom, then it says, oh, this isn't connected anymore in the game code, and then just breaks it to make it a soft wall. And then you can just breach it with the Zofia. So it's really, really common to either ban Thatcher and then only have Maverick as your way to breach that, or ban Maverick and Thatcher so that it is incredibly difficult to breach that. And that's generally the way that it swings, and that's what we see right now. Both Maverick and Thatcher ban, which means Cache is going to be incredibly hard to get into.
Right. And I mean, seeing those bans is definitely, as you said, pretty common here. Just being able to shut down those wall tricks from the Maverick, and of course gadget denial from the Thatcher. On the side of defensive bans, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Kaed, just due to the presence that they have on gym bedroom and the basement site, being able to deny hatches or the jacuzzi wall with very little risk to themselves. Looks like Malusi will be the first ban from NYT, though. Of course, the Malusis we saw being very effective last game in shutting down and just withholding any sort of push from the attacking side. A Maestro ban to close it out from RIT will shut down any sort of plant denial that could have been brought by NYT on their defensive half. That isn't an echo or just a direct firefight.
Well, that points to me that is a target ban, because as you may have noticed, that specifically RIT likes using the Maestro, and that NYT didn't particularly use it that much. So I believe that was a rather useful and not irregular, but definitely a targeted ban based on what we saw that last map. Also, of interesting note here, this is the first Goyo we've seen brought out, which is actually kind of surprising considering how very, very good Goyo is these days. Even though going down from 3 shields to 2, that's mildly disappointing because Goyo is at least cool. But it looks like we're going to be bandit tricking CCTV Cache and hoping that the Zofia won't be able to... Do we have a shield? We have 1 shield, 2 shields, it looks like. It's either 1 or 2 shields. So if you put the shield right in the doorway there, in between the red hallway and CCTV, that should prevent the Zofia, unless the Zofia goes below, at least from concussing through the drone hole. So they're going to need at least a good first floor hold to prevent that.
Right. If I had to guess, we'll see the shield placed at the corner of the wall in between sites, most likely watching towards the breach. But I guess that'll just time will tell for that. Daddy West on the Valkyrie as well will provide a lot of intel. Looks like a cam was thrown under the CCTV rack towards the platform wall. Giving a bit of intel once the breach is either open or if the attacking team decides to funnel in there. See another cam placed down inside of the lobby, watching towards secret and stock. So that'll give a little bit of intel about when the attacking team is trying to go below and deny the trick on the wall.
Yep, and now we see everyone coming in from that east side. I believe that's Kennels, if I remember correctly what the name of the spawn place is. And it looks like, yeah, we're going to see that bandit trick go on, holding one battery there and just hoping. Oh, I don't know. Is that true that that barricade also stops the concussing? I don't know if that's true. I've never tried it.
I believe it can. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if that missing a little bit of
located by attackers.
door at the bottom could potentially just cause the line of sight to still be an option. But either way, it looks like that's not going to be going for the trick under that drone hole. Instead, just going to shoot through a bit of the server window and open up the sightline zone that way. Won't be able to see the batteries though due to the bomb chassis change being solid. And yeah, that's really going to be it for that sort of push. However, Fundamentals and Bladeroid are going to be entering in from the bottom of the garage, flashing up towards the rafters, as West is sitting inside of this blue staircase here, just a couple feet away from a few operators on the side of NYT.
I do find it kind of wild that they had nobody up in rafters. Like, literally nobody. All they had was an echo drone, but nobody was there. Which seems incredibly odd, as Daddy West tags Mr. Fundamentals down on blue stairs, now rotating back through oil pit to maybe not climb up there, but that's where it's living. As we did get the impact there, and I believe it was Habana who was killed. So they still have, so it looks like they can't necessarily prevent the breach. As the only hard breach are taken, no, and it looks like we got the ace getting it open here. Not Salmon and Mac tagging Daddy West the blue card, ending Daddy West's reign of terror for the time being. Holy cow, is Bladeroid getting tagged through the big opening there, the impact hole, and that barbed wire actually doing something aside from just being hit twice. Oh boy. And now we got Bladeroid at half health here with 45 seconds left in the round.
K9 and Mentality here do have a lot of flank potential. They know about the two players down inside of garage. Some pre-firing shots will not find the target, but Rocket does find not someone. K9 was able to get the kill onto one, and that will be 2 operators down for NYT. Now, the Yokai drone will find the Nomad on the rotate hole and do a lot of damage there. The Bearing 9 gets pulled out, and the free fire through the wall from Mac will close out their triple on the round. It's all down to K9 to try to finish off the defense that they have. Unfortunately, the free fire is not quite right. Just falling a little shy. A couple shots on the floor do not do a whole lot of damage to
Attackers have
Mac.
located a bomb.
Less than 1 health bar of that. And now it's a post-plant situation for K9.
Yeah, with 30 seconds left here, this is going to be a relatively difficult retake. And I think that, Nomad telling them exactly where they are, blowing them. That was a funky trigger, but I believe it was put up above the doorway, which is why it blew them back towards the garage. So now they're just going to have to push through cash, and this generally is just going to be rather difficult here. And then the second one, blowing them through the wall. Hey, look, that mechanic we never see. As Mac gets the 4, I believe that's 4 for Mac here. Getting the 4-piece. Yeah, Mac tagging the 4-piece here as we see trying to be Kool-Aid Man getting blown through the wall there and getting taken out by Mac.
Yeah, and what a way for the team of NYT to take round 1. I mean, we saw how crucial those picks on the garage stairs were. It was looking good for RIT for a decent amount of time, but just not winning their firefights near the end of the round meant that Blue Card and Daddy West both fell, and from there on it was a very much collapse onto site from NYT with very little resistance until the end.
I think a lot of what the issues that came up here incidentally happened to deal with, as we see the 6-pick from line onto the Habana there. They just didn't hold garage. There was literally nobody in garage. And that just let them, we breached downstairs. We see no one there, and just walked in and took garage, and then you couldn't take that back.
Right, and I mean, usually you'll see at least one player up on the rafters trying to hold that down, usually an ADS or some magnets for support, but it looks like that wasn't the case. And instead they had Daddy West down in oil pit, did manage to find 1 kill,
Attackers
but not
recovered the
really
diffuser.
helping at all later in the round. He said rehost will be called. We will be still heading back up to CCTV, same operators will be played, but we will be back in just a second when that rehost is settled, so we'll hope that you all stay with us, and we'll stick around for that.
Yep. And
All right, we're back and getting ready to go for this rehost. Once again, heading to Clubhouse. Map 2, RIT 1, Map 1, with a 7-5 score line. Now they will be heading to Clubhouse. It is currently 1-0 in favor of NYT. Now they will be heading to CCTV, same operators as before the rehost, as it was called after the round had started. So we will be looking towards what they are doing.
Yep, and we know that they're picking the same ops as we saw before, so it's going to be CCTV cache, and they're just hard picking them, not using the 6-pick, which is kind of amusing, but that is a choice you can make. But hey, do what you do as we're going back upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can try to accomplish by doing those 6 picks. I mean, at the end of the day, what's there is known to both teams for the most part, so...
Yeah. Well, I guess like drones hadn't happened yet, so they wouldn't even know
right.
what the were.
Yeah. Very fair point. They did do the same 6 picks here, so
attackers need to locate
we'll end up with the same result regardless. We will once again see the setups being brought by both teams. We'll see a Kyle this time instead of a Bandit from blue card, so that will give them a little bit more freedom to move around instead of having to be right on the wall. We did see blue somewhat favored the blue card last time, as the ace was able to pick up a kill there. And Daddy West this time will be on the mute once again. We saw how influential that was on Coastline, and a 4K and an ace back to back for West. So a very strong operator there, if nothing except for gun skill wise, but definitely a good operator there as well. We did see a lion get picked, so the jammers could be in preparation for that. However, it was 6-picked onto the Hibana by Mr. Fundamentals.
And again, we see nobody in garage. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out, as we saw last time, at least from as far as we can tell, not using garage was they're failing. And now just nobody's there. So I don't know what's going up here. We see Daddy West placing a mute jammer on the on the drone hole. And as I'm just trying to parse why so many people are on those stairs and kind of offside. So we have one guy on red stairs, one guy in stock. And that would be the Omai. And we have 3 in cache. And yay, we got someone playing upstairs in Catwalk Raptors. So that's at least should be going better for RIT already. And it looks like we've mostly spread out from the site. There's basically nobody on site, and most people are off. So we have the Echo on bomb, and then Jaeger just kind of chilling around cache, but nobody's in B at all, which is kind of interesting. Oh, I guess using the hole that they made to see downstairs into stock, as Mentality just checking the red stairs right now and Sledge is in oil pit. Weird.
Yeah, it's weird to see them drop down, as you mentioned. Not really have a lot to go with here. I mean, we have Rocket's Yokai Drone as support for blue card, but nothing's really going to happen in garage. Blader has rotated very far away in up blue stairs and is now inside of secret. We'll be trying to sightlines, I guess, towards stock, helping to support Not Salmon potentially taking one of those vertical fights. Does have to be very careful about Mentality up on the red stairs, though, and the pre-fire will force them to not peek that for a decent amount of time as well.
Yep. And now it looks like we have Fundamentals opening up downstairs in the bottom of the garage here, as we see both going away. And wow, that was just a sweeping headshot, and that managed to tag Not Salmon because he was crouching. And then Fiasco getting Daddy West. I guess Daddy West is definitely not hot anymore. But but Fiasco did take a lot of damage when trying to engage Daddy West. But that does put RIT at a slight advantage, at least on health. Now we're seeing the AUG being wild, and Bladderoy just cleaning up the Wamai downstairs. So it looks like the downstairs is entirely free now, and as we see the Sledge moving into construction.
Yeah, and the sledging construction could be pretty useful. I mean, we know that there is a potential for creating rotates into Logi if they need to. Looks like they're just going to go for the side execute and sledge out the barbed wire right away and get some air jabs from Fiasco to close down any potential after playing rotates. Bullet holes being played by Matt will find 2. one, make that two a second down, but not enough as Fundamentals is able to close that out. The bullet holes weren't quite enough to give Mentality the edge there, and it will be the second round for NYT.
I think it was kind of wild how quickly that fell apart, right? Because at least from what I saw, there was only like a minute left in the round, and then the round ended, or something like that.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
And that was just incredibly fast. So I think that they can't afford. Okay, good. We do see them moving down to Church Arsenal as they, at least compared to how NYT attacks, just cannot hold that site. At least they can't afford to do it anymore. Because doing it twice, and the first time having it being a little bit close, and then the last time being not even close at all, cleaning it out incredibly quickly. They have to do something different here as we see the Gridlock switch onto the Havana and the Smoke switching to not an SMG-11 Mossberg op. I'll give you that if this Smoke is actually going to 6-pick off.
Okay, the last second switch to Echo. I was kind of surprised that we didn't stick with the Smoke, honestly. I mean, Smoke on basement can
Attackers
be a
need to locate and
completely
defuse bombs.
shutout operator. I mean, you can deny basically all of blue for very little risk, but the Echo can do much the same, but also provide some intel in the meantime.
Well, that would point to me that Blue Card is removing themselves from, like, or at least pivoting their support role, where they decide, okay, we need more information instead of preventing entry, because we obviously can't do preventing entry, or at least what we've seen so far, they can't do preventing entry that particularly well, so they need to pivot to a different kind of operator, as since they haven't been doing that well, trying to improve, like, bolstering a failure, or at least a failings that they have currently, which they'll likely fix by the end of this map, doesn't seem to be particularly worth it. I think that's kind of like the schema they're going for right now.
Right. And I mean, when you have the sort of aggressive attacks that we've seen from NYT, it definitely seems very hard to defend against. RIT not quite able to keep up with the kill counts being brought this time around. It looks like a potential dirt push here from Mac and Salmon, as Mac does have the Selma Aqua Breachers to get into dirt with. We'll open that up. Salmon will be doing some drone work in the meantime. Fiasco also there to potentially section off Kitchen and keep that out of the hands of the defenders as a late flank option.
Yeah, and now we see the push has slowed down a little bit, where they only have 2 people inside the building on the second floor, I think, as they're droning out here. Oh, I guess not even at all. I don't know where the... Okay, so on the roof, getting it to drop into small office on the second floor. But this is definitely significantly slower than when they were pushing into garage. Like, they were almost in there snap quick and then just basically wreaking havoc on the insides. And now we're at a minute 40, so like 45 seconds in, and not much has happened. So this is a significantly slower and more methodical push than before. And that's a whiff C4 by the Kaid, at least by the looks of it.
Yeah, it looks like no call gonna go out to sort of capture that hatch. Rocket not gonna be able to get over there in time, and not wanting to risk going against those vertical holes. They're gonna instead opt to do go out, finding actually no damage, even though a lot of shots were traded back and forth. Later, and Rocket will try to fight against that. They will opt to fall back, not wanting to lose their life with only a minute left in the round. Plenty of time in their favor.
Yep. And now with a minute left, basically nothing has happened. The hatch may have been open. Ooh, good frag on the retreating Jaeger here from not onto Mentality, as we're seeing lots of things being opened here, as we're just doing the fully downstairs hole, not getting eyes on anybody, which means that they are functionally safe to push in through dirt. As we see the ace in dirt, and then Not Salmon on the stairs here. An Iron Sight. Ooh, spicy. The Iron Sight MP5X, I believe it is?
Yeah, MP5SD.
Yeah, MP5SD. The Iron Sight MP5SD, which is kind of wild. It looks like we're having 2 people push down the main stairs there as Rocket gets clobbered by something. I have no idea what. Like he's trying to take the engagement with Mac here and not going particularly well. And now we already have the plant going down here from Mr. Fundamentals here. Let's see if the Echo is... They don't know where the plant's going down as the Echo gets tagged out. Daddy West tagging Mr. Fundamentals on the plant. Blatteroy, holy cow, everything's going down. Not sounding back. Grabbing Rocket and K9 here. Taking it in a 4. Let's see if the shot from Daddy West. Yep, tagging one. Let's see if he can tag another. No, he was standing up behind the boxes, which ends the run there. And then as the Echo's coming in, Not Salmon may have gotten 4? at least 3.
I believe that was a triple for them on the round, potentially a quad. But
Yeah.
either way, just unfortunate about the yokai being lost for blue card there. Just not able to deny the plant more than once. Wasn't able to see the second planter, and that really put a lot of pressure onto Daddy West to start picking up those frags. Did work out for a little bit, but NYT just had the numbers advantage and was able to push that back.
Yeah, now they just got to try something because losing 3 rounds in a row is not good at all. Like, especially as defense, this is not particularly a great split. Ooh, Cali. Some variety. Last season, we were keeping a counter of the number of Cali kills because you don't see that many. Though Cali kills will likely go up, but not necessarily with the sniper rifle, as that switches to a Habana, which makes me mildly disappointed. But again, also makes sense. Also, Daddy West switching to the hard roam operator off of the mute. So we'll see if he has power even
Attackers
without the
need to
Mossberg and
locate and
SMG.
defuse as many bombs as they can.
Yeah, I think RIT is just at this point determining that they need to get those early picks to really just shut down the presence of NYT. Both of these last few rounds have come down to basically time. It's been an utter frag fest in the past 30 seconds. We usually 4v5 or 5v5 with only 45 or 50 seconds left on the clock, and it's not really a position you want to be in for RIT, especially when you're fighting against a team of competent guns such as NYT. I mean, we've seen how
10 seconds
strong
left
they
before
are in
insertion.
winning these gunfights already, 3 rounds up on a generally
5
defender-sided
seconds
map.
to go.
So they're clearly doing something right.
Yeah, and
Attackers must
they
locate and
and to be
defuse the
fair,
bomb.
NYT did pick this map, right? This was their map and they chose it. So, and we can clearly see why. They have been winning these rounds definitely almost every time, 2 to 3 operators up, at least when the end of the round is. And we see Daddy West here just holding strip. That's a rather aggressive hold and strip that you don't see particularly often. So I guess he's just doing the deep roam here, maybe just trying to catch them off guard, which is basically what they got to do here. Because they really need just 1 round to swing it back in the other way, at least stop the momentum that NYT has here.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that, there's a lot of drone pressure from NYT as they try to figure out where the operators of RIT are positioned. We'll see a second floor clear happening right now as they notice that it's not an issue. They will be sending operators down. Not someone will be finding Rocket through some vertical play inside of the kitchen. And down goes the Kaed and the Nitro Cell and Artillery to be put to rest. Bladoroid is taken down, however, by K9. The drone not able to spot them out. A bullet does take K9 down to about 78, 80-ish HP. But the gun soar, but not dead. And Daddy West will pick up a second on the round onto Natsaman. And that will be a trade back for the earlier kill. And the Zofio is now gone. Breach charges left in pocket, except for the one that was used to kill Rocket.
That was rather aggressive, so I guess the way that they decided that they have to pivot this round around is just be overly aggressive. K9 got the kill onto Bladoroid because they were being aggressive, and that was a wildly aggressive a peek into kitchen just to try and tag somebody, and then they managed to get it. So it looks like that's the angle they're going to take for these last 3 rounds based on what I'm seeing here. With a minute left in the round, not much has been accomplished by NYT because not even anyone's really in the building per se, as they're just trying to get into kitchen, and they were being now they have Mr. Fundamentals keeping there as they seemingly have. And look, Impact Trick getting the ace charge there, so I don't think they'll be getting that hatch open with 51 seconds left. As we do notice, Dirt has been open, so I think that's where Mac is right now. Nope, Mac is outside, and we'll have to rotate. But it looks
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
and it looks like they're going to be going for
Attackers
Dirt
recover
push
the
here,
bomb
as there
diffuser.
likely will not be enough time to drop the hatch, and they do manage to get the hatch open. But we are in a 3v5 as we see Daddy West coming in here, likely trying to take out the thing here, or take out the Habana, and then they noticed with the Daddy West getting Mr. Fundamentals with the Habana, I guess trying to push him out here, making holes in the wall and spraying back on the refrag. Leaving out here with 15 seconds left around. He has to try and go for it, take out Fiasco. Yep, manages to tag Fiasco. Mac gets mentality, and now he's sitting on Diffuser with 10 seconds left. There's not enough time here as K9 also manages to get back. This is exactly the round that RIT needed to get back in this.
Yeah, really just get some wind in their sails and start setting themselves up for potential future round wins. And as we mentioned at the start of the round, that extra roam presence really did play into effect, getting that early kill. Even though they did lose Rocket, was pretty influential. I mean, you shut down a lot of the hot breach potential just by losing the Zofia. It makes your hot breachers a lot more reliable on really only what they can bring to the table. They don't have the extra gun to watch over them and the extra breach charges to clear out anyone that might be playing below. And we saw that come into effect later as the roam clear was not quite as effective due to that lost player.
Yep, and now they have to go back up to CCTV cache as the Buck is probably swapping onto Obana, as that's what Mr. Fundamentals has been rocking every single time. And also Daddy West going with the Vigil. They saw that work, so they're just going to jam it again to see if they can manage to swing it out on CCTV cache here. Now, they haven't succeeded in the site at all. Both of the defenses can be seen as not particularly well. Can definitely be improved upon. The first time they had no guy in catwalk, then they fixed that for the second, and still somehow they ended up with a very relatively quick loss. So what do you think they have to do this round just to stem the bleeding here? Because one round does not necessarily do that in terms of momentum.
I think losing the breach is going to be a pretty deciding factor, at least. If they happen to lose platform wall, their garage pressure becomes very much reduced, since garage has to fight against basically 3 different angles from garage door below, where the Habana usually makes a crouch hole under the second garage door, and then again from the breach through the rotate hole. So that will become basically a death trap for whoever's in the rafters and just a fight for their life. That being said, construction might end up being the play here for NYT if they know about all of the resources that have been at least dumped so far onto these rafters. We see, I believe, an ADS, the Coyote is there, Artillery Claws will have to be thrown from the wall, and also a Yokai drone inside of garage as well. So plenty of things there to watch out for. Okay, a point out here.
So they are in places that can't be impacted from underneath. So one is inside functionally the CCTV cabinet, and one is on the wall on the other side, which makes it so that I'm pretty confident you basically can't get rid of those. As far as I'm, as long as you're willing to commit to holding those red stairs, I don't think that anyone can get those. As far as I'm aware, you might be able to get the second one from the CCTV window, but I don't know if you have a good sightline onto it and or if you can see it at all.
There is a potential to hit it from the drone hole, maybe with a Zofia charge, but it doesn't look like that's going to be what they're going for. They do use one charge from below to open up that wall. They won't be able to see anything, as we've been mentioning. They are not in that line of sight. Ping 2.0 system coming into effect there. Noticing that drone will get shot before it can be on it. Flashbang indicator will force Blue Card to fall back, at least for a second, but back to looking at the door. It does have the diffuser, and Bladeroid is down below. So this could end down. Killer does get picked up by the nade goes out. Air jab does get zapped by the ADS, and that will be a little bit of pressure released, but Salmon is able to take down Mentality, and through the red stairs, a shot from above takes down the Salmon. And Blue Card has 2 on the round. It does get picked up by the third player down in the bottom of garage. We'll call in the cavalry of Daddy West, who finds one. Trade onto Bladeroid, and that was the last 2 operators of NYT versus 2 operators of RIT. Both fighting each other in this garage doorway style, and there looks like they're both going to fall back, noting that they have time to their advantage. Diffuser has to come in through garage at this point, not enough time to rotate around. They know where the push is coming from. It's just about getting the denial on that execute.
Yep, and that barbed wire actually makes them. They did not break it again, spraying through the wall to try and tag it. You see the downfalls of the gun being silenced here because it only did partial damage. It didn't actually down anyone. We see the one line come out missing on the Habana there, and then the white peak from Fiasco just getting it. As Habana gets down, they can't go for the plant here because they will just defrag. So it looks like the Nomad's just gonna have to go for kills in 5 seconds here, and will be unable to do it as the round just ends. So good job on RIT here, bringing this back to a 2-3. It's either a 2-3, yeah, 2-3. So they just gotta win one more here, and then we're back to a 3-3, which is definitely very winnable, as we saw from the last map. Was a 3-3 that went to a 7-5.
Yeah, and this is looking to be almost an exact replica of what we saw last map. We saw 3 round wins on each side for the half, and a pretty even split that is. So we could see that again. It looks like Mentality will be on an Oryx of all players, most likely going to be 6th picked if I had to guess, but they do have gym bedroom, so those rotates could be part of their design. And the 6th pick is to the castle, so I'm assuming that we'll see those used on the gym site to sort of protect the bandit trick of blue card trying to deny the breach of Ace and Hibana onto Jacuzzi wall.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Yep, and they're just gonna go for it. They just gotta do things that are slightly different. So, do they have any shields? No, they have one shield on K9, and that will. Okay, so they're using a castle for that, and they'll likely have to put the shield right next to the door hole so they can't be capital control. Because that is a problem that does occur. They did fix the dispersion, or fix in quotes, that it isn't a cloud anymore. It's more like a Molotov pool. So putting that shield there does prevent that from occurring. It also prevents the concuss from the Zofia coming in
10
through and
seconds
hitting
to go.
that. So they'd have to use one of the frag grenades from Bladderoid to do that,
5 seconds
and
left before insertion.
a number of other utility, because I would have to assume that they are likely getting number 1 over
Locate a
there,
bomb and defuse
and
Good question.
because he can't. Oh, crash. Did they call a rehost already?
I'd have to double check on that. Either way, the rehost was called. Yeah, we'll have to probably get an admin to take a look at that and see how that's going to pan out. But for now, it looks like we're going to try to get that sorted for everyone. So we'll try to get that sorted and be back as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have to as well, because it was too late as well
Right.
already.
Alright, apologies for the little miss up there, but it's fine. RIT will have to play this out 1 player down. They are missing K9, however the shield and some magnets were at least placed before the disconnect, which is unfortunate, but not the worst potential option. Fiasco will be trying to burn those magnets and ADSs. Looks like the flashes do indeed do that. Impact from the Zofia will take out the shield. Second impact will potentially go out. Not sure if that'll get caught by the magnet. It does find the Mentality, and down goes the castle. The ADS inside the castle drops 2 more projectiles, make that a 3rd. Flash is coming out, the concussion goes down, and unfortunately a peek from blue card is not successful as they find I believe 2 or 3. Daddy West does fire back and find Bladderoid, but it is still a 1v4 situation and not looking good for RIT at this point. This is most likely going to be a 4-2 split on the half.
Yep, and we'll see if Daddy West can get like the miracle
Attackers
ace, because
activating
we've seen him do it before, at least get an
Attackers
ace,
need
but
to
that was
protect
also
the
Mossberg in a much more narrow
compromised.
situation. But Daddy West getting 1. And now we'll see exactly where this goes here, because this is definitely winnable. Oh, let's see who decides to peek out first, I guess. Oh, and he triggered the Nomad into the doorway to see if he could be inside the door, and that does not work because it split him right down the middle as the Nomad then Y peeks and just tags the Jaeger.
Yeah, and the reset there from getting up, shoving them back into the hallway. Unfortunate end for Daddy West, and of course the disconnect not being a great outcome. However, it looks like that player has reconnected, so RIT will be able to continue their full setup, at least for the second half of the map. And that will be, unfortunately, a 2-4 split for them, but they'll just have to work with that and try to pull it back if they want to at least tie or potentially even win, if possible, their second map. Granted, this is NYT's map pick. They've been very definitively winning these rounds, so it could go either way.
Yep. And now we're going to CCTV casual we'd expect, and a Goyo. Actually hard-picked, which again is incredibly surprising to me. As we see the fantastical 6-pick Cali onto Cali, Goyo has seen so much play in Pro League. I'm just mildly surprised that we haven't seen Goyo more. As the shields are very good, generically, the shields are good, and you have a good gun, and the incidental Molotov cocktail is attached to the back of the shield. Also very good. He's just a very good operator. Is generally picked on most sites, at least in Pro League anyway, but that doesn't necessarily translate here. Now let's see exactly what Not Selwyn does with his Kaid, as we see if he puts him in the same place. Because that was some very interesting positioning there that we saw over on RET's side.
Looks like it's going to be similar positioning here.
10
We'll
seconds
see
to
the
insertion.
first one be the same, second one as well. So yeah,
5
that will
seconds
be
remaining.
identical kind of claw placement, and we will see those AoEs will
Attackers are
overlap
moving
both
out
the
to
walls,
locate a bomb and
and
defuse it.
very difficult for RIT to try to deal with.
Yep. And now as we head into the normal round here, we not much is going on here. We just see the Kaid floating about as we were getting that main position. Construction is barricaded off as we have 4 people on site. The Kaid playing, or not the Kaid, I apologize. The Wamai playing rafters, which is
Attackers have located
very
a bomb.
abnormal, but considering the number of net ADSs that the Wamai gets, that actually makes a reasonable amount of sense. And the AUG is a very powerful AR.
Yeah, very true. I mean, having the Wamai there does present the option of having the magnets on hand as soon as you need them. But at the same time, if you lose your Wamai, that means you don't have any more magnets for the round. So that does put a lot of pressure onto Mr. Fundamentals to stay alive as long as possible. But it looks like RIT will not be going for the garage push, at least at the moment, as they have opted to fall back, knowing that they are going to have a lot of difficulty trying to get that platform wall open.
Yep, so they're going to end up taking a different round here with a significantly slower push. It looks like everybody's in stock. They're going to try and push up. I don't know what the... what they're trying to do. They're going to try and get eyes onto it. They know roughly where it is, I think. Yep, and they weren't able to hit it because that's not where the Kaid is. Because it's protected from the floor on both sides here. And we'll see exactly how they decide to push, because there's a minute 30 left, and there hasn't really no real movement has been made onto site.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate for the pick of Kali as well, not being able to use the LV lances to take out those kind of
Bomb located by
Kali is not
attackers.
necessarily one of the best frag operators, assuming that the gadget is not used. And because of that, you're really probably going to end up with Daddy here trying to get at least a gadget block to at the nothing else, fall back to the pocket SMG and go that way. Not 7 does find a nitro cell through the breach and takes out K9, the entry frag, and now down for RIT. Rocket's Claymore, however, finds Bladeroid back on main stairs, and the flank watch coming in full effect, albeit somewhat luckily. And the pocket F2 of Daddy West, known as the SP SMG-9, will take a headshot onto Fiasco. Down goes the Goyo. Not able to pop the shield, unfortunately. Will you have to use an LV Lance on that one? That peak from the Wamai almost takes out Daddy West's health bar. Only goes down to about half, but Rocket is able to pick up the summon.
Attackers
Plant going
activate.
down from blue card, and the swing from the Echo finds Coup. Going huge here, but Rocket is able to find Mr. Fundamentals, putting it all onto the shoulders of Mac to try to close out this round.
Yeah, and Mac is going to try and deal with the plant down and not knowing exactly where everybody is. Oh, knowing that someone was behind Bomb and Bomb being solid, manages to win that one. That was definitely very close there. The Wamai doing, or I would say the Kali doing a very good job of stalling enough to basically prevent them from rotating in that hallway so they can move in via construction. That was a very, very good push there. Oh, yikes. Well, that's an entirely different problem. Not much we can do about that. They can use it, so... Yep.
Yeah, it's unfortunately outside of our control, but not much we can do there. Heading to CCTV once again, NYT will try to run that back. They are bringing the same lineup plus a Mira, minus the Wamai, I believe. So that will be a choice here, unless that 6-pick is back to the Wamai. It looks like that is the choice that they're opting for. Daddy West on the Ying will 6-pick onto a Twitch, most likely to deal with those Coyote Claws, based on how much of a pain it was for them to try to figure out last time, relying on frags to close out the round instead.
Yep. And now we're in a 3-4 favoring NYT. Still, because RIT did win that attack round. They're going back to CCTV Tash, trying it again. This time, basically with the same comp, except bringing a Mira, at least in an attempt to fool, and a Twitch. So it looks like that Twitch pick, or the 6-pick, which happened to be a Twitch pick to actually English today, was an effort to try and get the Mira. But also it can tag the Kaids if it can somehow get inside that shield, preventing the shield on the side of Red Stairs traditionally prevents the Twitch from getting in. And oh boy, looks like we're having some, I guess, a slow load from the Goyo here. But it also can grab the Jaegers and can grab the Echoes. So I think the Twitch was a rather smart pick here. And it might even be able to tag one of the Kites, depending on how they decide to hold Red Stairs.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I mean, you would hope so, but
Attackers need to
I guess we'll
locate
just
and
have to see
defuse
how
bombs.
Twitch drone pans out for them. Like, it's going to be Simon set up once again, trying to deal with the platform wall. Most likely you're going to see the Artillery Claws in the same spot. But West will have their work cut out for them, trying to get that drone into the drone hole and able to take care of those Artillery Claws as quickly as possible, but without getting shot, as that would completely defeat the point of having brought the Twitch.
Yep. So let's see, the Twitch drone is
10 seconds
still.
to go.
Did it get shot quickly? Nope, it's just chilling outside. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, West will need
5
to
seconds
pick
to
that
go.
up, most likely to throw it onto the platform wall drone hole,
Yep. And
as
that's
Twitch drones,
Attackers'
as
objective
everyone knows,
is to
can't
locate a
jump.
bomb and defuse
Yeah.
it.
So we have our 2 drones kissing out there, just waiting to be able to actually use it picked up by their respective operators. And now it looks like they're just going to do a standard push onto site. No, maybe not necessarily standard, but they did already break open garage wall to get eyes onto the deep side of. Ooh, yep, they did manage to get one, which was the thing that I suspected. But since they don't have 3 Kites anymore, it looks like that wall's going to get opened by the Ace, and that's going to be a really big pivot on the side of RIT.
Yeah, we're gonna. The entire wall cannot be opened because of that shield preventing it from getting through without going all the way around. And that will call over the yokai drone of Mac, but it immediately shot from below.
Attackers have
Like,
located a bomb.
beautiful shot through the floor there, and excellent timing to spot that out, albeit probably a bit lucky as well. Looks like the second Twitch drone will be thrown through the open breach to try to find something. It will take out an ADS for at least its first victim, potentially a second, and that will happen. Now 2 ADSs of the 3 down, the second artillery clock gone. The entire breach can now be opened up, and they know about the player at the top of the red stairs.
Yeah, that was an incredibly profitable Twitch drone. It got 2 ADSs and got all the artillery clocks. I think that was very, very good on their side.
Oh, absolutely.
And it also droned out the Goyo as well. So it looks like now they're going to be trying to push upstairs in rafters, trying to push the Lanai out there. Ooh, you saw the arm for a little bit, and you might see the legs. Ooh, you got to see the little toes. Let's see if the eyes on the Lanai, you see the gunfight here, and they're getting the live takes. Yep, there's the shoulder. Yep, the shoulder and the finish there on Mr. Fundamentals there. I think RIT likely have a reasonable shot at taking this one, but they do have to push out a lot of people out of cash.
Yeah. I think this is really going to come down to fighting Goyo off the top of red stairs. We do see West pop the Goyo shield. Does miss both of the proximity alarms, but I don't think they'll really come into effect. Blue card is already planting. This could be bad. As someone tries to peek out, Sam's actually caught out in a missed Nitro Self, and Fiasco will end in a kill on themselves. K9 ends up picking out not Salmon, and Yokai Drone now out of charges and shot by Daddy West. So that is a plant for Blue Card and a trade
Attackers are
on
activating.
Bladeroid by Daddy West. It's all down to Mac. Does get some shots on mentality, but will be caught in the rotate hole by Rocket, and RIT will even out the scoreline in their favor and bring it back 4-4.
So at this rate, as we've seen both of these be somewhat attacker favorite, it looks like, incidentally, I think that at this point RIT is likely to take this map as well. It really depends on how well Church Arsenal goes, because that was CCTV twice, to be fair. So
Right.
if Arsenal manages, if they can hold Church Arsenal, that'll be a really big swing to NYT here.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, if Arsenal works out for them and they're able to go to their third site, that could put them up to that match point decider, which could be the determining factor for the match. Then again, it could, of course, go the other way. We will see Daddy West once again on the Twitch, just in case it is a third try for that top floor hold. That being said, the castle and the Mozzie does
Attackers need to
indicate
locate and defuse
otherwise.
bombs.
Yep, and now, yeah, it just looks like a standard. I don't know where the castle's going to go for his castle barricades. That is what I am most interested in. His castle is rather.
Oh, I know where this is going. This is an SSG strat, isn't it?
Where is it going? All the way upstairs?
Yeah, the Castle Mutant Muzzy combo was what SSG ran throughout their Pro League season, I believe in 2019 and into 2020. At the SI Major is when they pulled it off very, very successfully. They would run the third floor, essentially, defense with a basement site, using the combination of Mutant Muzzy and Castle to deny as much intel as possible, to fake it out, but just to make all of the attackers think that they had to drone 2 floors worth of rooms before they could start going on the side execute, when in reality there was no one there. So they would waste a huge amount of time for very little utility and still have all players alive at the end of the round.
Interesting. I definitely had missed that strategy, so I think this is a really interesting take. So it looks like they're going to have one person upstairs, maybe 2. Yep, just one. It's just going to be, okay, 2. So you have one on the, or 3, wow. 3 people offside overall, 2 on the 3rd floor and then 1 on the 1st floor. Bladder has the availability for the quick rotate into moto. But that
Attackers drop the diffuser.
Yep, you can go.
Important to note that the hatches are also open and rotates are made for all of the players up there. So I'm assuming that we will see a drop through those hatches as soon as pressure starts to apply. It looks like blue card does drone out Not Salmon inside of Jim. We'll call that out. The strategy could potentially be known. I don't know if RIT Orange does know about this, so if they do, they might actually read into that and start going for that heavy basement push, knowing that there will be 3 operators off-site.
Yeah, and they already did the catwalk into cache, as they at least have an idea that someone's in cache. It looks like they're all pivoting to commit to kitchen here, as we do see Twitch already drop oil pit, and we see 1, 2 downstairs, and it looks like we have 2 in dirt already, as we see, ooh, mentality fell up.
Oh no, that's not what you want to see.
Oh no. Well, this is what we're doing today, I guess. And we see Not Salmon and everyone else basically running to rotate downstairs. Yep. As Mackie gets K9 and gets 2 blue card. I believe those are both the basement? Yeah, those are both those are both the people coming in dirt as they pushed into site here. The Legion with the faster tick here, and fat fingering as they get tagged trying to pull the goo mine out. And now suddenly everybody's back on site, a fair number of RIT being on low health. Also, NYT being the same with a minute left in the round. And fortunately, they do, and unfortunately, miraculously, they know where the diffuser is, but it is on site in vision of 2 operators.
Ooh, WS will pick up 1 for the second, and potentially a 3rd R, but has to be very wary about these angles. Mentality will find 1 even at the low health, but let's come out. It's a huge flank here. Does find Mentality all the way down into dirt. Daddy West will be taken down by Blade, and it's all up to the Sophia of Rocket. Concussion grade does that. Stun 1, stuns 2. We have to swing with that 762. It does find 1 onto Not Salmon. It's a 1v2 situation. Definitely winnable with some well-placed shots. But does Rocket know where the last operator is? And yes, they do, but won't win the firefight. And Bladeroid will secure the round, going up 5-4 against RIT.
So for the 5th site, or for the 5th site, do you think that they're going to go for Jim because they just can't win CCTV? At least they might think that they can't do it that way?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think they're going to be going to bar stock. I think that would be kind of a death wish. And it seems like Jim Bedroom is going to be the play. They're going to go for the bandit trick on the jacuzzi wall. It seems like Mac will be once again on the Echo, trying to use that plant denial to its fullest. Castle being brought by Fiasco. Interesting to see that not 6th picked, as that's usually a giveaway of the Jim Bedroom site. Goyo being brought as well for the shields. It doesn't look like there's going to be a 6th pick for NYT, at least at the moment. Potentially the Goyo, but I don't know what they would switch to.
Yep. And now, yep, so the Goyo looks like that will be the shield for the bandit, which is kind of really sketch considering frag grenades. But it looks like there are no frags being brought by the attacker side.
Attackers need to
They
locate
only
and defuse
have
bombs.
flashes, impacts, and a torch drone. The closest thing to a frag grenade you're going to get is Sophie's lifeline, and that is still not the best option you got. I mean, then again, you do have 6 flashbangs on combo from Mentality and K9. That will put a lot of pressure onto them to stay alive and burn the ADSs, as the castle barricades will be most likely taken out. The first one by punching, the second one from an impact of Sophia, and likely the shield will be taken out that way as well.
Yeah, it is important to note that the only shields are the Goyo, so that bandit is going to be in a really risky position.
5 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, that's going to be a really hard place to play, just because that can potentially go so horribly wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if one misstep by that bandit or a lucky impact from the Zofia, or, I mean, assuming the ADSs get burned, will potentially spell the death of Not Salmon, and that will put them in a pretty rough spot, as well as Jacuzzi Wall opened without your bandit is not great, because that's also a nitro cell gone, and a huge amount of pressure onto site as you can start opening up angles into gym, into the bathroom, and all the way down towards logistics.
Yep, and yeah, that's a good sight line that they
Attackers
have
have
there.
located a bomb.
I believe that was made by the defenders just to the time too. And also, to be entirely honest, opening that hatch is one of the better moves that a defender can make into the bedroom, because more often than not, I've seen multiple people fall into that hatch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if you're not watching out for it, it can be really upsetting to fall through that hatch, and especially it wastes a lot of time, because now you have to rotate all the way up main stairs and then get back to where you were at before you even started.
Yep, and it looks like they're going to make an effort here with impacts. Let's see if that Goyo gets got. And the Goyo does get got. Okay.
Yeah, first wall is also cleared out by that, due to the fact that West Twitch drone is able to clear out the second bandit battery. And that will allow Jacuzzi to be completely open. Looks like Blue Card going to be satisfied with one wall for now, potentially saving the second set of Selma Aqua Breachers for the bathroom, and that will be the case. That first set does go out. It'll be a firefight with Mac. Mac has to try to fight this out, but won't, actually falling back. Just barely squeaking out of there under the smoke that came out of the Selma, I believe, just blocking the vision from Blue Card.
Yep, and now everyone's at full health, and yep, you got eyes on it, and the ACOG beating the other ACOG narrowly here, with the Echo getting taken out by the Ace. The Silencer, I believe, actually being the difference there, aside from Ace's gun just being absolutely bonkers. With a minute left, around a 4v5 here, with some of the best guns on the defense still around there. And we see the Twitch drone going in, grabbing Cam, seeing what he can do here. And they're just trying to contest that Jacuzzi wall. I don't see anyone coming in from the other side, like construction. So it looks like they're just doing a hard gym Jacuzzi push here, as we see Twitch inside his sight, sweeping out. Daddy West getting bladder right here, proning on the ground, likely going to attack whoever's in there. Velasco getting mentality. And that would have been from the construction push here, with Rocket getting knocked salvaged. And the plant is going down, probably making this.
Attackers are activating the bomb diffuser.
And now they have almost complete site control, just trying to fight it out here with the Goyo. And the Buck coming in from below looks like going to rotate through Cash, trying to clean everything up here. Blue Card getting Mr. Fundamentals, and now it's just up to Fiasco, who is stuck, or like basically around bomb here, as Ace comes around, whips around the bathroom style.
Yeah, and that's a triple on the round for Blue Card, being able to grab 3 for themselves with the AK-12. First the Echo, then I believe the Bandit, and then lastly the Castle, closing out that round for RIT, once again bringing themselves to an even scoreline, as we saw the back and forth once again coming into full effect, just like it did on Coastline.
Yep, and now we're...
It looks like they're going to be heading back to gym, running the same setup that they had before. So whether or not NYT will be able to pull that back and play that a bit safer, potentially not lose the wall as quickly, will be the deciding factor here. We didn't see an ADS placed next to the drone hole to deny the impacts of Zofia last time, which is what allowed the wall to be opened up so quickly. So that will be a pretty telling situation as to whether or not they place an ADS there this time around, or not at all.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
I do see some drones from RIT starting off towards Strip Club, most likely checking for any roamers that will be over there to try to shut down that sort of area. Granted, they won't find anything just yet, gonna keep going through, not too worried about it yet. As the side of NYT, their setup is going per usual. It seems the Bandit once again getting set up on Jacuzzi Wall, placing the ADS and the shield inside of Cash to just hold that down as long as possible. Most likely for Mr. Fundamentals, potentially Fiasco there as well. Castle Barricades in the same position, so nothing too different on that side either.
And again that they are banking upon
to locate a
the
bomb
Goyo, and it looks like they actually just are not placing a Goyo. No, they are going to place the Goyo, so I would have thought that based to see how it happened. Oh, so it looks like they're putting the Goyo closer to the drone hole so that when it explodes, I think due to how radius works, they might be able to catch the right-hand edge of the jacuzzi wall with the bandit.
Yeah,
I
and it
don't
looks like
entirely know.
it looks like the bandit batteries are a bit further away from the shield this time around as well. So I think
bomb
that's
has
just
been
banking
located.
on not getting blown up at splash radius. I'm assuming they're going to burn that ADS as quickly as possible.
Bomb
That'll
located
probably
by
be
attackers.
the job of... Ooh, actually, that's a good point. They don't have the Habana this time around, so it looks like they're expecting the ADS not to be there. They have Rocket on the lifeline right away. We'll see that get zapped most likely in just a second. We do indeed.
I think there was one zap, which is why Sophia
Yeah.
immediately rotated off.
And there goes the ADS. It did get zapped by the Twitch drone, which means it will get blown up. Bandit batteries, however, are still on the wall due to the, like you said, the shield being placed closer to the drone hole. And WS will have to either use a shock drone or some sort of way to blow up the second castle barricade, which I don't believe is an option anymore, as Zophia's lifeline charges are expended.
Yep, so that door is closed for the most part, so they just have to do full entry to be able to get the door open. So the bandit can efficiently bandit trick. Yep, we see that going on, getting that aqua charge there, and let's see if he grabs the second one in time, and it looks like he does. Yep, that's two of them gone.
Just barely timed. Yeah, that'll be up to West to sort of let those charges come back. Blue card could potentially throw two Selmas, one on each wall, to try to trick that down. It looks like that will be the case as the Heartbreak charge from Captain does open up the wall at least a little bit, which could force the bandit to play a lot more safely here. It looks like a peek from Blue card just inches away from the bandit. Does swat him out and get the kill, and Not Salmon is now down. Jacuzzi wall free to be opened up by RIT, but only 50 seconds left on the clock for this execute, and drones still needing to come out from RIT to figure out where the players on site are.
Yeah, and that bandit did end up moving because they did capital through the drone hills. Daddy West just does entry fragging as Matt gets K9. I'm not entirely sure where that was. I assume that's on construction side, as it looks like they're just pushing at the gym here. And let's see if Jaeger can grab it. I guess they don't know that there. Blatteroid gets blue card, and now we're in a 3v3 with Jaeger just trying to hold construction with two entering that side. And we have one gym, yep, the one who entered construction doing the wide swing out, getting Blatteroid. And now we're in a, I don't think the Koyo knows that he's there.
15 seconds.
No, Mr. Fundamental grabbing Rocket. Nobody knows what mentality is. It looks like Mark had to try and grab two. And mentality getting three? It's either 3 or 4.
Yeah,
definitely.
3 on the round for mentality. That's pretty huge. Especially coming in from that flank and cleaning up the rest that just could not quite be grabbed by the team inside of Jim. Will close out the round and set RIT up to match point. They will secure themselves at least a partial win, if not a full win, assuming that they can take this last round.
Yep, and we'll see how this goes here. Going back to Church Arsenal, which was the only one that they won, they being NYT, won. So it looks like they're going to do Legion Castle, Jaeger, Mozzie, Mute, which is a reasonable thing, and they might do that full building setup, as you mentioned before, just to waste time. That's very, very possible. And that did turn out at least reasonably okay. I mean, they won the round, so I'd call that good. Also, no way to deny grenades, which is kind of weird, but
attackers
you got to do what you got to do for whatever
as many bombs as they can.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I want to know if they're changing anything for the setup. I mean, they have the Vigil, they have a Mozzie, Mute, and Castle, so they're probably going to go for that very spread out setup again. It worked very well last time. Pretty definitive, as RIT just could not win their gunfights inside of dirt, and that cost them 2 members, then another one Daddy West, as they were trying to come out through blue. Did not quite pan out for them at the end, and resulted in the win for NYT, so it will have to be an altered attack from RIT if they want to truly take this map home as well and secure themselves a full win. Then again, NYT doesn't have to change too much, seeing as how well they won it the last time.
Yep, and it looks like they're going to put the people in roughly the same positions as before. We have Blatteroid on the first floor, 2 downstairs, which would point to 2 upstairs again. So I think that's just what he's doing. Yeah, holding stock door through that tiny single bullet hole here, and just not committing to it fully, because it seems like nobody is actually coming that way, as it looks like they're doing the full top floor clear right now.
Okay, so RIT is setting up a little bit on platform wall. Looks like Mentality is trying to figure out how to assist. There is an ace charge going onto the wall to open that up, and that will provide some sight lines, but I believe that's just barely vaultable by the attackers. So that will open up an entryway, albeit not the best for heading in, but no one there to deny it. Fundamentals and Salmon are inside of Master Bedroom. And Daddy West and Rocket will be taking care of cash.
Yep, and it looks like we actually have someone. Yeah, so it looks like Blue Card is coming downstairs into bathroom, and just because they know how this hold works, we have two on the stairs. They're watching bathroom, and then we have one downstairs in. And it looks like they're just wasting a lot of time upstairs. We had a minute gone around, 4 people all the way upstairs, but not making any real advancement towards the site. And since nobody's dead, that means that you have a reasonable shot of people making a difference. However, Rocket seeing the fundamentals through that tiny hole into the office upstairs. And now, and now it looks like everyone has fallen back down to the first floor, and now they're just trying to burn time.
Yeah, and I mean, NYT still could very much have this. There's only a minute left on the round. Operators from RIT are just beginning to drop towards site. You see them all sort of clustered up towards the kitchen hallway area. Mentality looks like just lagging a bit behind, trying to get a safe diffuser, not trying to get in ahead of the team. Blue Card is attempting to open opening up the bottom main stairs. They do have to really start working on the site execute, or it could be a win by times for NYT. Hatch does get open short, and that will be the hatch opened by Mentality. 3 members inside of Arsenal, and a drone from Blue Card through dirt. Daddy West finds one inside of Church, and this will kick off the explosive action at the start of the round. Mentality taking a few shots in the background there, but West has to peek in and try to take out one. They do find the mute, and down goes Not Salmon. It's a 5v2 for RIT. This is looking like a win on their map, but no, Mac is firing back, finds Mentality. It's down to K9 inside of dirt to try to win out that angle. It's Blue Card with the diffuser, only 7 seconds left on the round. Has to get into as fast as humanly possible, throws a smoke, gets the diffuser down to the ground with just the amount of time needed. Fiasco finds a headshot on K9. Daddy West only had a sliver of health against Fiasco, and it's not looking too great, but now it is. Blue Card finds the kill onto Mac, and it's a 1v3 Fiasco with just a sliver of health left, as Blue Card finds the last kill of the game, and RIT takes their full win for week 1.
That was a fantastic game we saw from both sides, going to 7-5 both maps. And I think that fixing some small errors definitely on NYT, which I want to see in future weeks, could definitely swing this either into a win or a tie. So I'm very, very excited to see how NYT improves over the coming weeks.
Oh, absolutely. I think both of these teams have huge potential to go forward. NYT not making it easy at all, fighting back so hard both maps, and I think they're really going to come out swinging again next week. And it'll be up to their opponents to see whether or not NYT will pull away with that win.
Yep. And I don't know who they are playing. And I don't know who they are playing next week, but hopefully I will be able to see that. And it looks like we'll be getting an interview today from the top fragger once he shows up, being Daddy West. At least based on the reports that I am seeing, that is who we will get today, and we will get to grill him about the power of the Mossberg and the SMG-11, which is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, so once we get them in here, we'll have that interview coming to you as quickly as we can.
Yep, and we're just waiting on specific preferences because we want to make sure we represent people correctly, and they do not want. Let's see, and it looks like we're getting some action going on with even the voice chats to get a real response from him as to what, and then pulling a curveball. Okay, so if we just wait a second here, RIT definitely adapted better. I think that was really the difference here, is that RIT was able to adapt more than NYT. I think that's really what did it.
Yeah, I mean, especially on Clubhouse, we saw how every time that NYT ran a site, except for CCTV at the start, it was a win for RIT. I mean, they were they would lose a site and then immediately come back and win it. And even though that was the case, they started off at a disadvantage. They were down 2-4, but they managed to take it back by just winning their attack rounds against NYT's defense and really just showing that they were able to adapt to whatever NYT was throwing at them.
Cool. And hey, we have the man of the hour, I would say, with us now. Hi, hello.
Uh,
How does it feel to get a total of 26 kills on a map?
that was 26. Oh my!
That was
I thought I
26
had
by your
less.
measure.
Yeah,
Yeah, with
Rehos called for a few.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just running around on defense and attack, just holding mouse one at people. Honestly, it was just working, and it feels great.
Yeah,
It's
very
great.
impressive as well. I mean, we saw 2 rounds back to back, a 4K and then an ace. So I think that that's one for the highlight reel, if nothing else.
Yeah, probably. I got lucky on that ace. They misplaced the diffuser. I had it stuck in the little like server hall, and I mute shotgun. They have no chance when they push me.
Yeah,
So
that was
Yeah.
something that we were discussing as well. Is even if you weren't someone with an SFG11 and a Mossberg, that is legitimately the worst location for the diffuser to go down on that map.
yeah, very rough for them. Very unlucky. But they played very very well. They may have not been had the super frag heavy people, but everything they did, it just worked. All their strats worked out correctly. It's just at the end of the day, they just lost their 50-50s too much. And it's, you know, that happens. That it's just happens sometimes, but they played super well. If they played like that continuing, they're fucking great. Sorry if I can't curse. Whoops.
Well,
Okay. Whoops.
not too much we can do about that at this point.
Rip
But
our heavily cultivated PG image on a game that's meant for people over 18.
you
Yeah,
know,
well.
it's too late now. That being said, I do have
Also,
a question.
oh,
Or sorry, go ahead.
I have to shout out Blue Card Darrell Rocket for giving me fantastic drones, and K9 for doing his own thing and just being a nuisance. It was great. He's a roaming Wamai. I don't understand it, but he does it, and it's great. All right, continuing, Rach.
Yeah, no, I just had a question for you on Clubhouse. We saw that attack or a defense half wasn't going too great. I mean, 2-4, one of the rounds was due to
Yep.
at least partially a disconnect, but attack you really turned that around. What was the call there that made the switch?
Oh, 100% the Twitch pick. 100%. Normally you don't pick Twitch for the utility, but I was clearing a lot of utility as that, getting us that plat wall open on the cash attack, and that made everything so much easier. It was that was the change that won us those attack rounds, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and being able to apply that to the jacuzzi push onto Jim Bedroom as well seemed like it definitely helped that push as well. The Goyo shield not working out quite as in favor of NYT as they would have preferred, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. I also, it was important for us to clear out their ADSs, which was also very handy with the Twitch. It was just overall great pick. Yeah, that's all.
I personally don't have any more questions. Do you have any more questions there, Enrich?
No, I think that everything else was basically answered by the performance of RIT today. Very impressive by both sides, but an overwhelming congratulations to all the members of RIT, and thank you very much, West, for joining us today for the interview.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So, before we close our cast today and such the fantastic show we had from RIT and from NYT, we cannot forget to thank our sponsors for this league who are graciously putting up actual real prize support, which is fantastic. The sponsors that we have are Corsair, all their great keyboards and stuff, and I use their RAM in my computer. It's absolutely fantastic, and I still think best of the line, at least in terms of RAM. We also want to call out What's New. they're the company which does all of our merch, at least in terms of clothing. Do we have anything new in the store that I don't remember? Because I know we had sweatpants for a bit, we had t-shirts and like hoodies.
Yeah, I believe we also have dad hats there as well. So plenty of things to check out there. We have a link, I believe, on the Twitch page. Yep, right under the stream, one of our little banners is the new CEA merch collection. So make sure to check that out if you're interested. And then rounding out our sponsors for the night is Rogue Energy. You can use code CEA for a 10% discount at checkout. I've used it quite a few times. It's a great little energy booster supplement. You can mix it into your drinks and whatnot. Tastes pretty great, so definitely recommend checking them out. They've got some great products.
Yep, and that's it from us tonight. So I am Coinman, and with me tonight was Enrage, and thank you all for watching.